happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How's it going, bro?
It's going good. We finally settled into things as they are. Nothing, no new changes or anything. So I'm used to things now.
Yeah. It's been
our setup.
It's been a while since we've started, but now we're finally getting in the groove of things. It's starting to reach normality.
That's exactly it. It's exactly it. Especially around this is our 1 year birthday for the channel.
1 year birthday for the Conbroplaystions channel
right
here. So everything should just be cemented, and that's how things are.
We've had a year to get everything nailed down exactly the way we're gonna keep it, and I'm glad, because change is just a difficult thing to cope with for me.
It's scary.
It is scary.
None of that's happening. Everything is changing as of today.
Yes, it is. It's all changing.
So, guys, for those of you guys that aren't patrons, who haven't already heard it from the Conbrosations podcast, today is our I think it would be yesterday from when you guys listening, on the 30th of April, is our 1 year birthday of the Conbroplaystions channel.
That's right.
To celebrate that, we've got a couple of new changes. We've got these two.
To celebrate Conbroplaystions.
Yes.
We're deleting that name.
We're deleting that name completely.
And we're going back to Conbrosations.
Yes. So we decided, because we love the name Conbrosations so much, and Conbrosations, the channel, slowly became a secondary channel, and
everybody's seen the meme.
Yes. We're like, we're holding the baby of Conbroplaystions. We're like,
that one drowning kid.
Conbrosations drowning in the corner. Because it's sort of become like that, we've decided to go back to our roots, because Conbroplaystions doesn't make sense without Conbrosations.
Yeah, like if you're in a conversation with somebody and you're like, oh, I follow these guys, they make this great series of podcasts, great content.
Before you say that, we're going back to our roots. We're changing the name of the channel to Conbrosations. Conbroplaystions will be replaced with Conbrosations.
Swear you already said that.
Didn't say it. You thought it.
Oh, okay.
This is something that you do sometimes. You're like, oh, I know the end of the conversation, so it's happened. There you go. Move on to it. So that's what we're doing, guys. The name will change to Conbrosations. Nothing else will change. Just the name will change, and that's it.
It'll be more in line with our branding. Like if someone finds us on Twitch, by the way, we're also on YouTube. It's very easy to find us, right?
Exactly.
And the channel that's most active. And also, Conbroplaystions only made sense if you knew Conbrosations. And otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Whereas if you're in a random conversation with someone, oh yeah, I follow these guys, they make great content. What's the name? Oh, it's Conbrosations. Oh, that makes sense. It's like they're bros. They're having a conversation. It fits. And we struck gold with that thing.
We did.
So we're going back to it. Nothing else is changing. We did it because the new channel, what is now Conbrosations, is still small enough that making the change now won't hurt our analytics too much.
Yes.
But we are starting to get into the growth phase, and if we did it at 2k subs, 5k subs, 10k subs, it would hurt.
Throw everything out of whack.
Right, exactly. So we're doing it now, so we're good. So Conbrosations for everywhere, for Twitter, although we don't use that, Instagram, which we don't use, TikTok, which we don't have,
no,
twitch.tv/Conbrosations, which we do use, and we do stream a lot. And thank you to the sugar daddies that subscribe over there.
Support us over there.
Talking of people that subscribe,
yes,
all of our content across both of our channels and the flagship show on the Four Pillars Network is made possible by our incredible super bros over on patreon.com/Conbrosations. Who do we have to thank?
We have Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, Carol to Rivia, aka Catsper the Friendly Patron, Record Friction, Dan the Man, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Martin Scorsese's Master H Butts 12, the Midget Aloy from Smallville, Sabine, the former freeloader Christian, Master Chief himself, Albiscori, Super Sus Ben Fryer, who is a clone of Eddie, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, Raj Vandalin, he's got a plan, guys, you just got to follow him on one last job, and the filthy FIFA fanatic Joe McCormack. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at Conbrosations.
Oh yeah,
damn right, son. It feels good. It
Yeah.
feels good to say that. Yeah, so that's going to be the changes. There is one other small change that's been made to the channel.
What's that?
It's something people probably haven't noticed. It's very subtle, I would say.
I can't think of anything we've changed.
I'm not going to lie, it's not easy to notice. We've changed our arrangement, and now we're sitting in these amazingly comfortable armchairs.
Do you know what? It's funny that you brought, because I thought we were just not going to bring it up and see if people noticed.
Oh.
Which is fine.
I bet you in the comments in the chat they're like, the fuck are they sitting on?
I was just thinking to myself how much less tired I am right now, because you don't think about it because we were used to it, but I'm still fresh because of these chairs. This was a great change. Also, without a clear Patreon goal, clear goal that we're saving for.
Yeah.
This is what we spend our money on. And you've missed out, or you'll probably find out next week, because I think we can announce that we're making that special birthday episode.
Secrets only known to the people.
That's right. There are other things
that
we have spent our money on while unsupervised.
Yes.
Well, we spent your money on while unsupervised, which we would have spent our money on if we didn't have your money.
Yeah.
That you've missed out on. So, don't be one of those people. Don't miss out. Patreon.com/Conbrosations for as little as $1 a month.
Yep.
You can get that podcast, the Conbrosations podcast, and see what we do when we're not supervised. And I think, what happens with the sugar daddies? They just get access to the Discord room, innit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
you have to actually be on Patreon.
And all the ad-free viewing experience on Twitch and
Yeah,
all those
yeah.
emotes and stuff like
That's right.
that. And the warm feeling in your pants for supporting us as well.
That's right. Thank you, Daddy.
But yeah, we've got these brand new sofa seats, and like you said, they feel really good, especially because the other ones we were sitting on were just dining room chairs, essentially.
Yeah, they're meant for you to eat dinner,
And then
maximum
fuck
like
off.
an hour. Yeah, then go
Sorry,
to the living
duck
room.
off.
Yeah, duck off. Go to the living room. We just did the Combos podcast.
Yeah.
Or like go outside or do something, right? They're not meant for you to spend all night sat in.
Yeah, we spend like 6-7 hours at a time in them,
Yeah.
and it does get a little bit hard. Right now, though, we just recorded the Combros podcast. It was like an hour and 45 minutes, something like that. Still feel perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm fresh.
Feels really, really good, and they look nice as well. And you guys get to enjoy seeing us all relaxed. And
All right.
if the next step basically after this is for us to get a casting couch,
Yeah, boy.
and
But I mean, think about it. We're coming into summer. If we get a black leather sofa, the skin peel is going to be rough. It's going to be rough, innit?
it's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be
Bro,
great.
this is the
Yes.
True Gamer podcast.
It
A
is the True
podcast
Gamer
that comes
podcast.
into these guys' eyes and ears every Saturday at youtube.com/Conbrosations.
That's right. I'm loving that.
And on podcast services around the world, where you guys can like the video, where you guys can support us on podcast services by giving us a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
It helps us out, helps us climb those
Yeah.
ranks and become really YouTube famous and podcast famous.
That's right.
Which is totally happening. by
Don't
the way.
forget, when we hit that YouTube millionaire status,
Yes.
I am going to get that Monica Dambo Ahago hentai cover for my Lamborghini. I will do it. I'll do it. You think I'm joking? If I'm making enough money from YouTube to get the Lamborghini, I'll frickin' wrap it. I swear to God. I promise you.
I need this to happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be great to be YouTube millionaires, but
Yeah, innit? Forget the money.
That's the part I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I might even lower the bar.
Forget
Forget the Lambo, innit? If we get to a point where, like,
Nissan Micra
Yeah.
wrap it. Do you know what that reminded me of? Have you seen that anime wrapped
almost certainly.
car, and the petrol fuel tank is right where the girl's bent over,
Oh, really? That's
and
good.
then it opens up, and that's where you're gonna put it in right there.
I'm just genuinely curious.
Give it a look.
Anime
It's so
wrap
funny.
car.
Even as someone who doesn't like anime, I found that hilarious.
So there are many of these.
Oh, are there?
anime
Oh,
wrapped cars.
God.
I mean, there are a bunch. None of them have my Monica Dambo. Is that it? No, that's not it.
No. Type in like fuel filler cap
Okay,
or
yeah,
something
I'll
like
do
that.
that.
Maybe
I'll
we'll
do
find it. But yeah, this is the True Gamer podcast coming to
Yeah.
your eyes and ears every Saturday, as I said. You guys can find us there. It really helps us out. If you want to take your support even further, like so many people have, you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations. That's exactly what I meant right there. You can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations.
It's not the only person. That had
Oh
that idea.
Jesus, there's many of them where you can give us some money per month, and you can get loads of incredible benefits, like exclusive access to a podcast, early access to this podcast, and so much more. And it helps us out, keep the show alive, and keep this thing going.
I do want to say, because not everybody can be on Patreon or Twitch or whatever, and that's fine. We totally get it. We still love you. Not as much as the other people. We still love you.
Favorites.
But,
we love you.
If you do love our stuff and you still want to support us, there are some things you can do which don't require any outlay of money, Liking the video is always good on YouTube. So please, hit that thumbs up. It does help us out. Helps the videos get discovered by the algorithm, all that stuff. And another thing that's really useful is writing an actual comment. Like if there's a topic that you hear throughout the podcast, come into the video, leaving a comment like, oh, what do you guys think about this? When you raised this thing, I said this, that sort of deal. YouTube takes a note of that and it makes us look a lot better. So that's a way you can help us grow. And one final way you could support us, if you chose to, is we do have somewhere an Amazon affiliate link. So if you were to need something from Amazon that you were going to buy anyway, by clicking that link and then purchasing, we get a small kickback. The way Amazon looks at it, like we sent you there.
Yeah.
So you would still support us, and it was something you were going to buy anyway. So that's all the ways you can support us without any like additional outlay of money, which I totally get. Like it's not, nobody has it, nobody can.
Yeah.
So we
and that helps
appreciate
us out in sort of in loads of ways that you don't even know.
Yeah,
is
the
possible.
Amazon affiliate, not quite so much.
No. That's just there.
It's extra, and I love that you guys do it. A few people DM me and say, "Oh, I used your link. Has it gone through?" And I'll check, and I'm like, "Yeah, it did go through." Oh shit, you put $170 worth of stuff through because for some reason it likes to look at it in dollars. Cool. We get like 12p from one of those things. Someone put, I think it was Ben, put like 180 quid or something in computer parts through Amazon, and we got like 25p. Yeah, for some reason it was just one of those things that did. Where somebody bought a book, like a cooking book, and we got like £3 for that. So I don't know. Amazon is weird.
Amazon.
But liking the video, rating the podcast 5 stars on podcast services around the world, all that stuff really genuinely helps. And actual comments about like.
And speaking of actual comments, I've been trying to say it for 4 minutes now. Speaking of actual
do you mind?
comments,
I was shilling. How dare you?
Brian Ford wrote in, and this is something that came up on the last podcast where we were talking about pricing when it comes to the previous games, so new games coming out at $70.
Oh, he actually wrote in on the YouTube. That's cool.
Actually wrote in there, and I thought I'd bring it up. I like to bring up, I want to try and do this more often. He goes, with the pricing for new games, I'm down with $70 for big titles. I'm just wanting more small titles to come out, like $30 to $40 range. I want to know, just by looking at the price, what kind of game and what level of quality I'm looking at. And that's a really good point, because we brought up when it first came out, we brought up the point that not all full price games on the previous gen were worth that money.
No, not at all.
Assassin's Creed, the last Far Cry game or something like that, or the newest FIFA game or something, they're not worth those full prices. And those are all games that are going to be like $70 in this generation. The price should reflect what you're getting. Unfortunately, it doesn't. That's the issue. I
like the idea that, say, like Kenna, British Bits is 30 or 40, something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Ratchet and Clank's going to be 70 because it's specifically into. I think we're likely to get that, which is games that are specifically like next gen only. I wouldn't say Ratchet and Clank's a AAA title, although it kind of falls in that same sort of range, where you'll know that they at least expect that it's a AAA title that's very good. Like, there's no way you're not going to pay 70 for an Assassin's Creed. They believe they're making AAA games. But when a game like Kenna comes out, or Mass Effect, the remastered, whatever it's called.
Is it Legacy or
Legacy Edition? That's it. Legendary Edition. Whatever it's called. The remake of the Mass Effects. That's going to be like 50, which is perfectly acceptable because it's one of the greatest franchises, one of the most brilliant trilogies. It'll be running next-gen graphics, but it's not a next-gen, like, exclusive.
Right.
Like, that's okay, but it also isn't coming in at 70.
Yeah.
A game like Kenna shouldn't be 70, but a game like God of War 5 should be.
That's the thing, and that's what adds to the whole question of what the value of games are, because on one side of the spectrum you get The Last of Us Part 2, on the one side of the spectrum you get God of War, and then on the other side of the spectrum you have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then it's like, and FIFA and shit like that. It's like, then what does this actually mean?
The worst thing, you're gonna hate me for saying this, I think most of these guys are, is I do think it's going to be impossible to get something like an AC Valhalla to come in under 70, because even though what they made was trash, or that's probably not fair. They made a game that wasn't as good as the games that it's trying to emulate, for example, The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
But they did put in a lot of work to it. It's a very large game. It looks pretty okay. Not great, actually, but it looks okay. It has got a lot of dialogue and good voice actors and mocap and all this stuff. So the issue is that someone can put in a lot of work and still end up with a garbage project. But if they've put in the work and they're getting paid for the work, then you have to pay the work price, even though what they come up with sucks.
Yeah, it's a cost thing, isn't it?
Right.
It costs them that much to make, so they have to make back that money.
Right.
That's the issue. That's the issue. I guess that's where reviews come in, right? Reviews and impressions from all your favorite YouTubers and stuff like that
But that's
are
the
supposed to be like, okay, they valued it at that price. That's not what that means.
Yeah.
And then you listen to your favorite YouTuber like us and one obviously.
Right.
And then
because we're known for our game reviews.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then they talk about it and then they go, okay, now I know this is actually worth it or this was actually not.
That.
Or you could just be like me, buy any fucking game and then be worried
you're
about
kind
it.
of like that. That is a good point, though, and it makes me really keen to constantly remind everybody you cannot trust games journalists, not at all. Do not trust IGN. Do not trust... I know exactly what you're thinking with the Cyberpunk thing. Yeah. Like, don't trust these people. They aren't gamers. They're writers that happen to be in the gaming space because it's the only job they could get. They don't care. Most of them have barely played any other games than Candy Crush on their phone. Right? These aren't gamers. You really cannot trust these guys. You should also take your favorite influencers and stuff, their opinions with a pinch of salt. Like, for example, you see the big Twitch streamers. They, as games come out, they often have like sponsored streams. And I guarantee you, and I think the legit guys will tell you up front, they're going to tell you it's good. Yeah. A week afterwards, if they're still playing that game, they think it's good.
Jack Frags. Oh fuck! I wish I didn't say his name.
Cut it out.
I was gonna
Bleep
say
it.
I don't like saying people's names because I don't feel like it's right. I don't feel like it's right because they're creating content just like we are, and whether they do it shittily, then that's on them.
Well, I'm telling you, Jack Frags is creating content not just like we are because he's grown quite significantly faster than we have.
He's sold out, and unfortunately, it's worked out for him the way he has, right? But I always see like the latest gameplay before it comes out, and he talks about it, and like, it's amazing. But then he's never playing that game afterwards.
Yeah, he's always going back to Battlefield or something.
Exactly, and I'm like,
yeah, like one that's going, which I feel like maybe I shouldn't say because we haven't had a deal with these guys, but I think the game's called Enlisted. I think it's a World War II shooter. But in the last week or 2 weeks, I've seen a bunch of streamers playing that at the minute.
Right.
And I think it's because of that. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention because it's a game that is new to me.
Right.
Maybe it's the new thing. Maybe it's the new shooter. It doesn't seem like it because whenever I come back later, they're all back on Apex or Warzone or something. But I feel you. And that's the thing is you really do need to take everything these online personalities are saying with a pinch of salt. Even... Well, maybe not us right now because we don't have any deals, but when we get it, we're going to be upfront with you.
Always be a bit cautious, even if I'd like to think we're good with our community and we're good mates and we hang out and we talk like
we actually meet guys in person
like
a lot of the time, yeah.
But even us,
well, also maybe we just have different tastes.
I have it with you. Fucking, you say
yeah.
something and I'm like, I'm gonna see for myself. And
well,
then
also,
there you go.
Different tastes is a perfect example, right? Like we did Anime Club. One of the animes I was certain there was no way you and anyone else could not like this was Keep Your Hands Off Isaac-en.
Yep.
I thought it was just chill, beautiful. It was in the middle of the pandemic last year. There was no way this anime couldn't be universally loved. And half of you hated it, and half of you direct messaged me to say that was amazing. I needed that. It was such a nice change of pace. The other people were like, this was shit. You couldn't get through it. You didn't even watch it. It was the only anime you couldn't watch.
I watched like 2
Season
episodes.
1 of MHA, which is so rough and so slow, and you watch the whole thing.
At least that was more. That was about like superheroes ish, and I think that kind of hooked me. Anyway, I
thought you would vibe with it because we do the camera stuff, we do like content creation.
I totally saw your
logic.
logic.
Have like that similar. Although they want it to be animators and we are content creators, like there's that same dream and how much effort they go to versus how much effort we go to. There's all these parallels. I was certain you were going to love it. It was going to be so chill and you're going to love like the little storytelling devices. You freaking hated it. So even just when we're 100% honest, which we are so far, at least we've been 100% honest, I totally intend to lie to you. I've got a number. Whenever someone hits that number, I'm gonna lie to you.
It's like, guys, this is the best cyanide ever. Drink it.
I'm telling you, Lady Demistress with a strap on, it's worth it, guys.
Do it. So,
Yes.
this is the True Gamer podcast.
It is. It was made possible by cyberbullying.
It was, yeah.
People, they came to us and they said, you know what we need? We need a podcast specifically about gaming. And if you don't do it,
Then we will give Lady D that strap on that you love
instead
so
of just a
much.
regular, it's going to be a bad dragon.
I would imagine that would be the only thing that would suit her.
Yeah. Like she whips out, and it's like a wasp stinger, the whole back end of a wasp or something. It's all this weird shape changes and stuff, or a fucking dragon head. Anyway, the people that made this happen, this podcast in particular,
Yes.
the True Gamer podcast, was made possible by our true gamers at the $5 and above tier on patreon.com/conversations. Whom do we have to thank?
We have Jeremy Horde, Sab2557, Record Friction, Real Kermit Cinema, Adam Sunling, Dan Dano, Isak Manny, Catsper Coral, Doc Nutella, Super Whale Ben, Albiscory, Joe McCormack, Greg Heffley is the greatest character in all of fiction.
So I was like, oh, Greg Heffley, cool, we got a new guy. No,
That's just
sake,
Ashton.
I'm gonna have to...
Benedict Clobbers, Zack Snyder's son, aka Batfan, Fishy, Max H, The Jackal, Cobra SS, and Jack Nicholas. Thank you, bro, so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the true gaming going here.
That's
at
right.
Conbrosations. That's right.
I think... I don't know. I think that's the Diary of a Wimpy Kid character. I don't know.
Greg
Get fricked. Gaming and gaming related topics. I
Yes.
like the True Gamer Patreon read it because it makes us sound like we're... How are we doing on Patreon? It makes us sound like we're doing really good, but actually we are doing really good. Mate, we're still in the high 30s.
We are very well supported by our community.
I freaking love
It's
this.
amazing. It's an amazing feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. We didn't have to... It was like, what? Yeah. A Patreon month for the chairs. Sick.
Thank you, bros, for all the support. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Literally the support. My back is supported. I'm feeling energetic.
My balls are supported by the bottom of the base of the seat.
Well,
right
yours
there.
hit the base of the seat. Show off.
That's the only thing. My penis can't. My penis can't. It's
Just sticking up in there.
balls hanging down. Anyway,
Wrong podcast.
we have a lot of cool topics for today.
Yeah.
Some of them include how you should never pre-order a game and how Cyberpunk is proof of that.
Ote.
Some Battlefield 6 news.
Yeah.
And how PlayStation is absolutely killing it in this financial quarter.
Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna go somewhere totally different, but cool. We're good. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to start off with that PlayStation stuff right here.
Yeah.
So today, by the way, is the 29th of April, which today there is a state of play happening tonight at 10 p.m., which I'm going to be doing a watch along for, and you guys are going to be joining us for that. Apparently, it's going to be Ratchet and Clank focused, which is going to be super cool because I'm hyped right now for it. The latest footage I saw looks like a Pixar movie through and through. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm ready for this.
I'm glad you've changed your tune on this because you were previously saying, Ratchet and Clank's not really my thing. I don't really get it. Did you play Ratchet and Clank 2016?
I haven't, even though now they've updated to the 60 FPS as well. So
I'll say I think that's probably one of the weaker titles, but it gives you a sense for what the game's about, right? Like it's very similar to something like Knack or Spyro, Smash, that kind of thing. I was super hyped for this, and I think it was me saying it this way that caught you, which is it's the first PS5 only game. Now, I totally get that most of the people out there don't have PS5s.
Yeah.
But we are in this new current generation of gaming, and having games that come out that are for the PS4 and playable on the PS5 feels like it's holding back. I feel like I don't have anything to stretch the legs of my PS5. I have this incredible PS5, and other than loading times, could have stuck to my PS4.
Yeah. We've got Returnals coming out today, tomorrow, sorry. But while that is a PS5 title, I don't see how smart as the company to really stretch the legs of the PS5.
I totally agree.
Whereas Insomniac, genuinely, I'm going to put them on the level of like Rockstar in terms of one of the greatest companies out there, and they understand PlayStation architecture like no one else as well.
They make
like Naughty Dog.
Ratchet and Clank has been a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah,
well, I think there's a couple on PC now. I think, but like
the old ones, so they migrate.
It was made for PlayStation since 2006. 2003. It's been a long time that Ratchet and Clank's been on the PlayStation. They know
Spider-Man
that.
as well.
Yeah,
They got to really stretch the legs of the PS5 with
Miles
they got
Morales.
to give a first try with Miles Morales. And this one, by the looks of it, looks like it's going to be absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play this game.
Are you going to get it? Or are you going to borrow mine?
No. So we're gonna definitely. I don't know if I can wait. We'll have to buy it together. No, sorry, we said we was going to try and do that thing with the digital thing.
Yeah, okay, we can do that. We can do that.
So hopefully we'll get both play that and both can get our impressions on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, PlayStation's doing great. There's going to be a state of play tonight. They said they're going to be showing off more Ratchet and Clank gameplay, and they're going to give us updates on 2 indie titles, they said.
Okay.
Everyone's hopeful. They're like, just because they said that doesn't mean they can't do a surprise announcement.
Yeah.
I think what it is
It's going to be Horizon's not coming.
It's God of War, guys. That's what it is. God of War Ragnarok.
We're almost halfway through the year.
I still haven't heard anything.
There's not. It's not coming.
Well, anyway, that's what's happening tonight. We haven't got the information to tell you now, but you'll be able to see our reactions to that over at twitch.tv/conversation.
Yeah.
You can check that out there. But in terms of PlayStation,
Yes.
the PlayStation 5 is the best-selling console of all time based on the amount of months that it's come out.
Okay.
So no other console has sold as fast as the PlayStation 5.
Despite production limits.
Exactly.
Damn.
It has sold 7.8 million units in the first 5 months that it's been out.
7 million of those to scalpers.
I was going to say that there's no way that those are in people's hands because everyone keeps telling me they can't get one. That's 3.3 million more than we got so at the end of 2020, we got the update and it was 4.5 million.
Yeah.
And they've sold 3.3 million in 3 months. That's a massive
Even
amount
with
of
the
console.
current the production issues that are still going on.
Exactly. They can't make them fast enough.
That first of all, that's mind blowing. But I was also expecting that to be like it's the fastest in like this versus Xbox in their generations. I was expecting a Nintendo thing to secretly beat it out because like things like the Switch or the Wii were ridiculous, or Game Boy were ridiculously popular, but you never really considered it. Like, how everybody has a toothbrush. You don't think of a house as having a toothbrush. And every single house has at least one tooth. You never think about it.
Yeah.
Because of course it does. Like, of course there's multiple Nintendo products in every household. Of course there are. You don't think about it.
That's a number, right? Imagine what it'd be like if there was no supply issues and if they can get them out
it'd be
to
at
the
20
shelves.
million. It'd be at 20 million.
Yeah.
It'd be at 20 million, for sure.
This just shows that the insane momentum that PS4 had for PlayStation just pushed them into the next generation, and they've got so much. Because, like we said, there aren't too many PlayStation 5 exclusive things to play.
Yeah.
So you can't say the software is the thing that's pushing them out there.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe the momentum and whatnot, or maybe the promise of what's to come.
Before the consoles came out, I think Tyler was on the True Gamer. It was, whichever podcast, it was Tyler and myself, I believe. And we were both saying we're really actually worried it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Like, specifically use those words. It's going to be way worse than the last generation, which was a significant defeat for Xbox. It's looking like we maybe undersold it.
Genuinely, because it could only get worse from where it is now.
Yeah.
We obviously Microsoft haven't published the numbers of consoles they've sold because that's embarrassing to them. But we have Bloomberg, who is like an analytics, like
their
reporting
financials.
They like that sort of stuff, and they predict that the way it's selling right now is that PlayStation is outselling the Xbox 2-1, which is where the previous gen consoles ended. So it's still got that
because it was coming off the 360, which was the best Xbox of all time.
So it's going there. I think as long as everything doesn't change, it could just go higher. From
It's
there.
worse than that.
Go on,
because it's not just the Series X that's selling, is it? All our numbers include the Series S as well.
Yes.
Which
far more budget console.
A much more budget console, which we believed, and I think it looks like the numbers are showing that was a mistake because you're coming out the gate restricting what your console can do.
Yeah.
Because when the Series X Pro, whatever the frick they call it, Series XS, Super Pro, Super Sad, only online, digital, right? Like when that comes out, whatever is the new thing needs to be able to play on a base Series S, which you're starting out at what, PS4 Pro or Xbox One S levels.
Based on the was the Resident Evil demo. They showed all the resolution and frame rates and stuff like that, and it was just marginally better than a PlayStation 4 Pro, and it's just
You had a PS4 Pro, which I didn't, and I could tell the difference between your PS4 Pro and my PS4.
Yeah.
Obviously, because your PS4 Pro was also quite a lot newer. But how are you finding the difference from the PS4 Pro to the PS5? That's what I thought. Right. Exactly. Ridiculous. I was saying on stream, twitch.tv/Conbrosations, someone was like, oh, how's it playing Ghost of Tsushima on the PS5? And I was like, my only complaint is the load times I feel like are too fast. And I'm not even joking. I actually think in the future, with these games being so well optimized and stuff, especially on the PlayStation exclusive side, they will make a 5 to 8 second, that's just the window that you get to look at the tip before you load in.
Yeah.
And maybe it's an option you can disable just to go for load times, but I find it jarring.
You either need to do no load times, nothing, zero, or make it long enough for someone to be able to read what the hell is on there.
Because a couple of times I've been like, oh, what's this? Oh, you get 3 words in, you load it in. It's jarring.
It's the same now because obviously all the PS4 games that can work on PS5.
Yeah.
I'm playing Bloodborne recently.
Yeah.
Same thing. It comes up with tips on the screen, and I'm like not even halfway through reading that first line, or halfway through reading the first line, and then boop, gone. I was like,
right, exactly. I think we even said, and this will be interesting, because especially the PlayStation new SSD, the proprietary stuff, they don't need loading screens. So how's that going to affect storytelling and gameplay?
That's the interesting part, right? Because it's all well and good saying we're going to get faster loads, or we're going to get no loading screens. But some of those things are built into games,
right?
Like going through a passage
or
that intentionally
scene,
slows you down, elevator scene.
So, if you guys don't know, the reason you would, in a lot of games prior to the PS5, you would either walk down a really long passageway and not be able to return, or you'd end up in an elevator going up somewhere. And the reason they do that is, let's take the elevator example. As you're going up, they're deleting the level behind you and loading it in above you. And basically, it's just kind of an interactive load screen while that delete and re-render is happening. Well, because of the PS5 SSD and the way it accesses it, that's no longer needed, which means that the likelihood is you could you can now get to play that Captain America scene where he's in the elevator, and if the elevator falls, it actually do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exciting stuff. But
it's exciting.
What's it going to do for storytelling? Because that had become a way in which people were used to transitioning from one level to the next while within the same frame of load. You know what I mean? What would you call that? The level,
same
let's
instance,
say.
I guess.
Yeah, the same instance. So without re-instancing, how do you transition from instances?
I think it's gonna take someone who gets really creative with it, and it comes up and says, "Oh, this is just the way it needs to be done now."
Yeah, exactly. I
revolutionize
think,
it.
Dreams.
Yeah,
which are not my cup of tea, but I love that it exists, and I think it's going to be one of those things where somebody comes out and they're just like, for fun, making something, and this is the way it's done, or like the guy that made Nazi zombies. That just makes one thing within a project as his own side passion project, and that thing is so genius, like the Apex ping system, like the Ghost of Tsushima looting system.
Yeah.
It just has to be the way you do it from now on.
It would be cool to see. I can't wait for the first guy to come up with that.
It's going to be good.
A few other points. PlayStation sold 338.9 million games
Jesus
on PS5
Christ.
and PS4 in the last financial quarter.
Wait, I thought you were talking in its life.
No, financial quarter.
Quarter?
From January to the end of March.
Wait, you said 300 million?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, wait, sorry, was that quarter? I think it is quarter because this was a financial report for the quarter. I think it was.
Oh, no, I'm gonna.
Because later on they do talk. My notes are incomplete.
How many games did PlayStation sell this quarter?
Let me have a look as well.
Sorry about this, guys, but that is just such a ridiculously large number that I can't. No, you know what? The final quarter of 2020.
Yep.
Was 103 million. So that's from what's that? November to December.
I found it. It is for the financial year of 2020.
Still, that's nuts.
Right there.
I genuinely thought you were going to say in the lifetime of the PS4 they sold 300 million games,
lifetime,
which is roughly on average 3 games per PS4,
Yeah.
which I could believe that.
Yeah. It says here as well, what I wrote down as well, that that's up from 276 million from the previous year. So that's a more than 50 million more in the whole year.
That's ridiculous.
And 58.4 million of that 300 million were first party exclusive games to the PlayStation.
Oh,
Which is an insane number.
It's not. Because we predicted it. That, in my opinion, totally circumstantial evidence, would not hold up in court. That is the Xbox coming over to PlayStation, PS4 or 5, because we know that PS4 is still rocketing off the shelves,
Yes.
and saying, well, what are these? All these Sony ponies talk about these games. Well, how good is Horizon? How good is God of War? How good is? Oh, damn.
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah.
You know, that proof. 50 million.
Yeah.
That's serious.
58.4 million, and that's up from 49.2 million from the last year before. Sony as well are also forecasting a $26.6 billion revenue in its games division, which is for the next financial year, which is a 9% increase to this year. 9% is huge.
That's enormous.
Especially for Sony, for the size they are for the PlayStation division and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, and this is the talking point that I wanted to make, they must be confident in the lineup of games that are coming out in this financial year coming up. So we said that Horizon could come out this year.
I think Horizon's a
pushed to
possibility.
slightly. But remember, financial year bleeds over to the end of March as
it
well.
does.
So there's the little
Yeah.
note over there. God of War, we said,
It's 21.
probably not going to come out 22.
22. It's next year.
Probably won't come out this year. But do you think it could come out in that first window, the first quarter
I
there?
don't see it coming out in March.
No?
Because they're smart. God of War's a holiday title, isn't it? They always say holiday.
God of War came out in April.
Oh, yeah.
2018 came out in April.
Oh, yeah, it did. I'd probably put it in November, though. Because then people get it for Christmas.
I think it's a good, smart business move. I'd be pissed off if I have to wait until November.
I'm not saying I want it. I'm saying that's what I think they'll do.
Yeah.
But then again, we've been wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of these things. Ghost of Tsushima came out in June or July of 2019. 2019. The Last of Us 2 came out at the beginning. It was March it got pushed back to March or April. So a lot of these titles, it was something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of these titles do come out fairly early. Thinking about it, when did Horizon release?
Let's have a little look, shall we?
But I mean, look, if you're Sony, you're probably pretty confident about your exclusives because you know what you're making, right? You know what you're investing in.
February.
See, I knew it was early. Never mind. Don't get me wrong. I think November-ish is a great time to release these sort of games, but it looks like Sony doesn't give a frick, and fair enough, because Horizon flew off the shelves. Even I downloaded it because it was free. It was the right price. It was on the Play at Home initiative.
Good press, that. Good press.
A little bit of me is tempted to replay it again to see if my opinion on Aloy and on like the game and its super sexist, horrible story undertones is still there. I don't think it will change, but the only thing is we got other stuff to play.
Yes.
And it's not that the game's old. It still looks great. It still plays great.
I mean, bruv, we've got Returnal coming out. We've got Ratchet and Clank coming out. We've got Pokemon Snap coming out.
Yeah.
Which I'm super excited for.
Yeah.
Not even joking about that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're totally... unrelated to this, we were in the car on the way to get food earlier, and you were talking about Pokemon Snaps out soon. And like,
bro, they've got this thing where you can feed it something and it changes colours, and then you get to take the picture of it. And I was like, yeah, cool.
don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Yeah. Snap was never my absolute jam, but I get it. I like it. I'm interested in playing Nier Replicant, which in the same way that I want you to play Mass Effect 1, which is it's an old game. I wouldn't play the original Nier, but I will play like a remaster of it or a remake of it. And I think you probably wouldn't have played the original Mass Effects. I wouldn't recommend one. It's very clunky. It's very like 2009.
They need to update those controls, and they have.
But once you're done with that, and because Dan gave you the Master Chief Collection that you can play on a PS5 controller, which feels like the most disgusting... like, it feels like you're desecrating a corpse. And I'm not even joking. It really does. I still want you to play those games. I think the whole 1 through 3 is like 30 hours for the whole of it or something.
Yeah.
I want to see you play it. I think you'll really enjoy it, especially because in my opinion, the two absolute best sci-fi games ever: Halo's 1 through 3, Mass Effect's 1 through 3.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your opinions on both of them and the story and which one you vibed with and all that stuff. So I'm really hopeful that you're going to play Mass Effects 1 through 3, and then you'll do the Master Chief Collection. For me, that would be like peak. I'll watch that. You know, I stalked you all the time. I would unironically watch that as a content consumer, and I freaking know you. I make half the content on the channel, you know, and I would like to watch that. So there's my pitch. That's my pitch.
I think I do want to play it. I think I do. But playing Halo Master Chief Collection on a PS5 controller, it does feel dirty.
It does. It's not okay. It's so not okay. That rubs me the wrong way.
On top of all the recent news about PlayStation with Jade Raymond, I believe her name was. The first game in their studio is going to be PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
The announcement of that Firewalk studio making a multiplayer AAA exclusive PlayStation
Which
game.
we took to mean a first-person shooter.
Yeah, we took. That's just what we think. Could be something else. PlayStation also announced that they are investing another $138 million in first-party exclusive over the next financial year.
Okay.
Just to put that into perspective for people, I think I had the number. I just want to double-check it. The Last of Us Part 2 budget.
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2 budget was $100 million. So essentially, almost, we're looking at 2 levels of Last of Us Part 2 budget-wise games being invested by PlayStation.
Yeah.
Granted, not going to come out for a while, but that's an exciting prospect, especially after what we got was the news not last week, the week before, where it seemed all doom and gloom, where like PlayStation were not making anything good anymore. They're just focusing on Naughty Dog games. They're just focusing on these 3 games that have produced really good results, and that's it. Seems like they're investing in a lot more.
I think. I'm just trying to find it. Didn't find it super quickly here. The budget to make AC Valhalla.
Oh God.
Because I want to use that as our yardstick, or maybe even which one is it? Odyssey or Unity that's universally hated?
Odyssey.
I don't.
Oh wait, not universally. There are idiots that do like that. The thing is, this is the problem with the AC community. There are idiots in them, and then there are people that
just like everything.
Fucking James, for example.
The reason, and it's not to constantly pick on them, but it's because we are involved. We're in the Venn diagram, whatever it is, with the AC community.
Yeah.
That you can take this game and Valhalla. Well, I haven't played it. I don't intend to play it. You played it. You're the guy that gave. Frickin' what was the Iron Man suit game? Anthem. You gave Anthem more than its fair shake. Shouldn't have done it, but you did, and you do that. And you put down Valhalla and didn't pick it back up again.
Yeah.
Right? You completed Cyberpunk, and and you couldn't get through Valhalla. All I've heard from most people is that Valhalla, like, it's unnecessarily long, it wastes your time. Watching James's tweets right now, which, James, you've got a problem, you need help.
This close to blocking that motherfucker, because every day I wake up and it's just a timeline filled with him posting videos. And the funny thing is that he captions it as something interesting. It's like, I can't believe this just happened. And I look at it and I'm like,
right. It's super uninteresting.
That was so uninteresting.
But like,
because not because it was James. His humor's great. It's because it was Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Right. Exactly.
This was just not interesting at all.
But I've seen this bunch of tweets. By the way, the guy's playing it on brand new next gen consoles or PC, beast rig.
We have to learn to say current gen. People got it up in arms when I say next gen.
You know what I mean.
Current gen, yeah.
Brand new current gen consoles or beast PC, however he's playing it, right? And still he's talking about, like, it has these issues, it has this. Why is this happening? How come this game doesn't have it, but this game from 2015 did? Like, it seems to be somewhat of a disappointment, but it's still also a AAA title that is made by, I don't rate Ubisoft that highly, but they're very high up there. They've got a good brand recognition, at least. So just because the budget's there.
Yeah.
Like a budget of 100 million, I bet that's somewhere similar to Valhalla. Doesn't mean we get a good product.
Yeah.
You know?
Does it at least make you hopeful though for PlayStation?
It does, especially because the and this is another example to just use AC. The what's the word I'm looking for here? The optimization for PlayStation exclusives is so high.
Yeah.
That for a game to come out and be like, let's say 70 gigabytes, it's jam packed. Whereas a game that's not an exclusive or potentially an AC, it's going to be 100 plus gigabytes.
Yeah. And
it doesn't have all that much refinement. So something about being an exclusive makes me feel better. That the team is going to have better optimization. They're going to understand the mechanics that they're doing a little bit better. That those bugs won't exist. Like we have found that the buggiest games are cross-platform.
Yeah.
In general, that's true for both consoles. There's not a lot of Xbox exclusives, but what Xbox exclusives there are tend to run pretty well. Same with the PlayStation stuff. And the worst offenders, Jedi Fallen Order, at least for some people, and me in particular, Cyberpunk, although that game had its own issues. But these are games that they have to talk two languages, tell the same story in two languages.
Yeah.
Right?
When it's dedicated to one platform, you do often get much better quality.
You do.
And a much smoother
and
experience.
You also often get, not to denigrate the teams on the third-party games, but for first-party titles, you tend to get a team that's very seasoned with the platform that it's on.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that they're better developers. It's to say they have more experience in the type of development they're going to do. So it seems like you get a higher quality product.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't, like Cyberpunk, for example, CDPR. It's not to say there are not incredible devs there. Or like Insomniac, for example, don't have, they're all better devs than CDPR. It's that because they only use the one tool, they know everything about it.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel better. Like if some third party group had come and said, we're doing $100 million, $200 million titles.
It's like, hey, there's a lot of money there, but let's see what you got.
Right, exactly. But to know that it's PlayStation exclusive
adds another layer of confidence to it, doesn't it? I'm excited about it because do you know what it is? When granted we were in this bucket as well, where like everyone was all doom and gloom, and when after the Bloomberg article came out, there was a group of people on Twitter who were like, it's almost like they were defending Sony, like they were white knighting Sony.
Okay.
And I was like, they're a company. They don't need you to like defend them whenever something happens.
We don't do that.
Exactly. We were said right here. We were like, hey,
just look in both our cameras at Sony products.
We were like, hey, this is wrong. We want you to invest in all kinds of creativity. And based on what
and don't just shoot down Ben because you don't.
Right. It was and it was so disrespectful. Even Enraged Pelican messaged me afterwards. He was like, it's so disrespectful what they did to Sony Ben. And we felt that too. However, these people were saying Sony up until now haven't put really a foot wrong. They've produced these bangers after bangers after bangers. Why, when somebody posts this random article about it, especially from someone like Jason Schreier, why would you immediately discount everything they've done before? Yeah. I have one suspicion why that was.
Okay.
It happened recently to us with Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
An amazing track record from a company who we really loved, and then we were like, oh no, it's CDPR, bro, come on, they're not going to do anything bad.
That's true.
They're going to do anything bad. And then they raped us in the most royal way possible.
That's true. They didn't even spit on it.
Exactly. And that's maybe it's because of that, because it was such a fresh wound that we
I think it was, and as we spoke about it, I think people got to watch this live because we only really spoke about the Ben situation on the podcast. That I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I was sort of doing the devil's advocate of like maybe it was just a shit pitch because then we looked at where would they put instead. Well, they put them on a Last of Us project. Yeah. And then Ben said, we don't want to be absorbed, we want a different project. And then they gave them a different project. So potentially it was just a crap pitch, or it wasn't a good idea, or for whatever reason, they looked at their numbers, which there's probably a good reason that they didn't go for a, what's that game called? Days Gone. Probably a good reason they didn't go for a Days Gone 2. I think they probably should. But it might well be that it's not just like, for example, you love the game, right? But they might have numbers like average playtime, the trophy scores and that stuff, and look at it and go, okay, for the people that did get it and the people that played it after the patches where it was like objectively much better, how long did they play it for? How far did they get? And go, even though it was a good game, we're not saying it wasn't a good game, it just didn't seem to vibe with enough people that it may not be worth doing. Okay, cool. Fair enough. We don't have that data and not anywhere near that level.
Yeah.
So we don't know. But looking at where Bend was positioned, or where Sony placed Bend after denying a Days Gone 2, it does not look like they were like, Bend, you suck.
Yeah.
It looks like they said, Bend, you made a game that didn't speak to people's souls the way God of War did, the way Ghost of Tsushima did, the way The Last of Us 1 and 2 did. We want you on a different project.
Yeah.
And then when they said they were concerned about being absorbed, they said, fine, take this other project.
Cool. Do your own thing over here. So maybe our first impressions were just a little bit more hasty, and we were worried.
I do think, though, that it's a much healthier reaction from us to say, fuck you, Sony, you're making a mistake, than to just Sony pony it. Because although we say we're Sony ponies, we're not really. Like, Sony do put their foot wrong, and we call them out on it.
And we did. And then after further examination, we've come back and we said,
incorrect.
Okay, maybe we were incorrect. We don't have all the facts. Maybe we're not.
Yeah.
But that's the impression that we're getting from it. Just shows how fair we are.
I think it's healthier for sure. Even though the CDPR thing was fresh, it doesn't matter that Sony has this great track record.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good your track record is. You can be like, this decorated police officer, but the one time you just decide to beat up that black guy.
Oh, you know.
Like, it doesn't matter how good your record was before. You did something wrong. Yelling "stop resisting" doesn't change that doesn't count.
Taser, bang.
Yeah. Totally different podcast.
Yeah.
So, if Sony put their foot wrong, we're going to call them out on it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. But the gaming division, the PlayStation division, seems to be doing very, very well. They seem to...
Very well.
What is a genuine mistake that they've made? That I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm sure there are some.
The only thing that I think... This is more of an overall thing.
Yeah.
But they haven't done anything regarding the backwards compatibility thing. I don't think it's that big of a thing.
Yeah, me too.
The vocal minority seem to be very loud.
Yeah.
I have to assume it's because they, like we've said before in the past, they've seen the numbers and it's just not worth it. And it's more worth to take the heat from those few people that are making a noise about
You're
it.
saying Sony hates minorities.
Hates minorities, that's what it is right there.
For legal reasons, that was entirely a joke.
That was our statement, our official statement here on Conbrosations. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah.
There's nothing else I think of that they've done. Only other thing is a personal thing. This is a personal gripe that I have.
Yeah.
Is that they don't have personalities really anymore, and it's all just sort of businessmen.
That I feel you.
But that's how a business runs with businessmen.
Yeah.
So again, it's a personal thing. It's totally like me, just what I want.
Yes. I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right. They do need personality for sure. I totally agree with that.
And they had it. That's the thing.
Did.
They had it good. And they just went,
Sony,
nah, get away.
If you're looking for personalities, we have between us maybe a quarter of one. And we'd be willing to
hand it over to you.
Yeah, to whore that out to you. No, I agree. And I can't see a major thing. And I think it's because they learn. The great thing about being human is you can learn from mistakes and they don't have to be yours. Yeah. And I feel like Sony as a corporation, which by the way, Sony is a soulless corporation. They will absolutely go Cyberpunk Corpo on you if it's ever possible. Right? They will totally do it. Any corporation would. It's all about maximizing profits.
Yeah.
Right now, they've realized that maximizing profits comes at the cost of actually delivering. But it seems like as a corporation, it's much more human than Microsoft. And I mean that in the way that it's seeing Microsoft's mistakes and saying, we don't need to make this mistake. We can learn from their mistake. So like the DRM thing from the previous generation.
Yeah.
Seeing continually every year, Microsoft does something to try and fuck over, I said it, the gamers, because they're so pro-consumer, pro-gamer, for the gamers, for gaming, right? And Sony sees that and sees the utter backlash from the 4 people that are on the Xbox and goes, yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that. And in response, it just quietly gives you PS Plus
Yeah.
and the PS Plus collection
Delivers all of these
and
great
PS Now
games.
and potentially a
Video
movie
pass.
service.
I was going to say.
Like, they just add value, not because they love you. It isn't because of that. It's because they see that Microsoft aren't doing those things or are trying to do the other thing and it's failing.
That's another, you sort of like walked past it here. That's another thing that gets me as well when it comes to like the whole like console war.
Yeah.
Is that we recognize that everything that Sony is doing for us as gamers
Oh, yeah.
is to make money.
Completely.
Never at one point are we like, Sony's lost a ton of money for me.
Right.
For me, Eddie.
Yeah.
They went, I'm going to give up $100 million, $200 million, whatever it is, for good old Ed.
Right.
Whereas people on the Xbox, they're like, Phil Spencer took the money out of his pocket and he gave it to me. Personally, right here. It's like, do you see what Microsoft are doing for us, the gamers? They don't want money. They're just giving it to us.
Pro-consumer.
It's like, how do you think Microsoft got to where they are now? You're not
But that's the funny thing. Microsoft got to where they are now by doing what Sony did, which was making products that were so good, people wanted to give you money. Now, Microsoft got away from that by just making bloatware.
Yeah.
Although it's pretty much the only option out there.
It is the only option. They've got a monopoly.
Right. But it's not that Sony loves you. It's that, although actually probably somebody there does. And somebody that really gets stuff.
He's there, bruv.
But the best way to get money from people is to make something that they want to give you money for.
And as proof by these financial reports from Sony here, $26.6 billion of revenue in this financial
For Sony
year.
or for PlayStation?
Sorry, for PlayStation. So for Sony. Sorry.
Okay, I was going to say, goddamn.
My apologies. For the games division.
So PlayStation.
So PlayStation right there. Sorry, that's the projected increase, so somewhere around the 20 and whatnot. Now,
I'm totally confused about what the number is, by the way.
let me work that out. Where's my fucking phone here? Let me get this.
Just tell me what that says, and then I'll...
So it was 26.6 billion revenue is a forecast for the next
which
year,
is a 9%
increase on there.
So
it'd be 2.6 less on it, so 24 billion. 24 billion.
That for just the PlayStation gaming division.
Exactly.
So that is...
Sorry for confusing with numbers.
That is mind-bogglingly large.
It's a lot. Now...
I thought, when you said that, I was like, oh, cool, that's what Sony made. It's ridiculous.
That's how much money PlayStation makes. Now, Microsoft also reported their numbers.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
For the quarter ending in March 31st. It's up 50% year on year.
Microsoft.
For the quarter.
Is this Microsoft or the gaming division?
For Microsoft.
Don't care. I mean, we need to hear it, but I don't care. It doesn't tell me anything. Look, we haven't got a detailed breakdown from Sony Gaming Division, but we know that the gaming division made this much revenue.
Exactly. It's $3.53 billion of revenue. That's for the quarter. Now, it's not exactly one for one, but if you times that by 4, you get something like $14.5 billion for the entire year, which
for
is
all
a lot
of Microsoft.
For the gaming division of Microsoft, so like Xbox. So which is a lot less than Sony's one here.
Surprisingly good though.
It's still healthy.
Yeah,
still
very
healthy.
Good. Very good. When you consider that there are at least triple the number of PlayStations out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty decent.
If you consider...
But...
Go on.
They have PC gaming.
True. And another thing, in this quarter is when they completed the acquisition for ZeniMax Studios.
Oh, shit. Does that go on top?
All of their revenue is also included in that.
For fuck's sake.
So it's and also to make it extra worse, it's completely impossible, and that's the only reason why they fucking put this number out there. Otherwise, it would have just been Microsoft made this much and done.
Yeah.
It's impossible to know because ZeniMax was a privately owned company and not a publicly traded company, so you don't know how much they made every year.
Sick.
So you have absolutely no idea of how this has worked.
Sick. Gotta love it, don't you?
Xbox's content services apparently have gone up 34% year on year, they say, which actually isn't that good.
It's not terrible, but it's not good.
34% with Game Pass, any softwares, anything digital basically, just not hardware. 34% isn't too great.
It's not good.
especially because they're supposed to be hitting their stride now with Xbox Game Pass.
Yes.
But it's still extra. It's up. It's in business. That means it's good going up and whatnot. But they did sell a lot of, in terms of percentage wise.
Yes.
They've increased their percentage in consoles sold, so it's like 232% more consoles sold in the year on year.
Yeah.
But last year they didn't have. But last year they didn't have consoles to be selling, the new console to be selling.
That's true, but the Game Pass stuff is supposed to be their silver bullet,
Yes.
and it isn't.
Yes.
And they continually bang on about it, but we know for a fact that you can get Game Pass for, what was it, 3 years for $1?
Yes.
Even with 18 million people, that's $18 million, which sounds like a lot to you and me. But when Sony's projecting $26 billion for the coming year, it's not that great.
So this is the thing.
If you ask me,
it's really not. So this is the thing I wanna bring up, and this is like to add to the whole thing, because I always say, like, I'm always suspicious of these numbers, and we're suspicious of how much money Game Pass is actually making and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just to give some reason why is because with PlayStation we got the amount of consoles sold.
We know that.
We got the amount of games sold in a certain period. We have forecasts for how it's going to go forward, which is supposed to be really accurate, because then it can affect stock fraud and whatnot. You can't lie about that stuff. We have to be quite accurate with it.
like you can. The thing is, you can be wrong, you can be incorrect.
Yes,
But you have to. If it goes to court, you need to be able to show your working. This is why maths tests, the working is more important.
Yes.
You need to be able to show the working, say, this is why
That's
we
what
reasonably...
thought about. And that's why so many people update their forecasts and what are going through, because they have to want to stay as close as possible to the truth. We got the amount of numbers they're going to be from games divisions. We got the amount of numbers, net profits from PlayStation.
Yeah.
We got all of these valuable numbers, so we can exactly determine how healthy PlayStation is. For investor purposes as well, so people can invest in PlayStation.
It's important.
With Microsoft, we got how much money, how much revenue they made in one quarter, and that was only because we had ZeniMax in there to confuse everything up. So now that number is meaningless to us. We have no idea what you mean right there. Then we had a percentage of how much the services have grown, and percentage on how much more consoles they've sold, and that's it.
That's the thing, because we don't know what the total of consoles is.
We don't know the total. We don't know the costs they've been putting into this stuff. We don't know the net profit. We don't know how much.
We don't know the gross profit. Gross profit would be enough.
Exactly.
We don't know this stuff.
We don't know the revenue coming in for any of the content services coming in.
I'm pretty sure we don't know the split between old consoles and current gen consoles, do we? We just know that they've shifted this percentage increase in consoles.
Yeah. It's just so confusing. Now, some business people out there, like I'm sure Dan, because he knows a lot about business, is probably saying, well, that's for investor purposes. Microsoft don't need investors because it's Microsoft. People will invest in Microsoft.
Yeah, maybe.
Even their investors want to know how much they're making. And any smart business person would be like, the reason why they're not telling us is because it's bad.
This, personally, as someone that doesn't do a lot of stock investing, this seems like a real position of weakness to me. It feels to me like Sony are cool to just put their numbers out there because they're really good.
Yeah.
And they're a good showcase. And they don't care about what their public perception is because the numbers are good.
Yeah.
And the public perception is good because the numbers are good, which is proof that the public perception is good because people are buying this stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels like the Xbox division is probably underwater. Might not, is what it, again, feels like. And that by putting it this way, they can release stuff that sounds good without actually having to be good. Because if they sold 20 consoles and now they sell 25, that's a 20% increase.
Yeah.
But what's the actual number? How much money is that in revenue? How much money is that in profit? What, okay, there's 22 million people on Game Pass. What is your revenue? What are you actually making from those? Because from you, they're making $1 for the next 3 years, assuming you can even be asked to do it.
Yeah.
We don't know this stuff.
Microsoft invested $10 billion in content services and acquisitions and stuff like that. Microsoft then made, that's the number that we want as well on top of that. But I fear that the number is
not high.
We made $3 billion, but we invested $11 million.
Now, one of the potential
And that's going to be it from me. I don't want to continue talking about finances for myself because I felt like I talked about a lot. So
Yeah, and also we're not like super well versed in this stuff.
we shouldn't be.
And one play, and I've said this about Sony's model is, it seems like they're willing to potentially make small losses up front to get people on services over the long run, which is the model that Game Pass was intended to be, but it hasn't worked out that way, in my opinion. It's possible that Microsoft, by acquiring all these, my hands in the, I'm sorry guys, by doing this, then maybe it's a long-term play, right? So this is a 10-year play where $7 billion over 10 years that's like $800 million a year. And if they come up with a single game that does that, then it's enough, right? It's worked out. The problem is everything they've acquired hasn't done any of that stuff recently. Nothing nothing Microsoft has done that recently. The closest thing we know of is Halo. And Halo Infinite, we have numbers that we can't trust any Microsoft numbers, but it seems like they spent a huge sum of money. And from what we've seen of it, it was very underwhelming. Yeah. To the point where it could have been some like game development uni students' final year project, right? It was not super great, especially when in a very similar event we saw that I always forget it's the one Chinese guy that made that game. You know the thing,
something like Bright Memory.
We see Bright Memory. It's made by one guy, and that is smooth. It's running at 60 FPS. Was it 4K?
Yeah,
4K 60 FPS. One guy makes it. Gorgeous lighting. It looks smooth. It looks great. And then we see the clunky, rough graphics, stuff's not rendering in of Halo. And that is what I see and think of when I think Microsoft. And then they go and buy like Bethesda, for example, which has made in the past some pretty good games that even then were fairly niche. Skyrim, which is a very well-known game. How many games did that sell?
Skyrim sells a lot, and it still continues to sell. It's a bit like their GTA, basically.
Yeah, so there's 50 million copies of Skyrim total. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And now, how many copies of Ghost of Tsushima?
Was it Fallout 76?
So Ghost of Tsushima this was as of 27th of March, just under 7 million copies. Yeah. So it's done 6 or 7 times more than Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
But it's a 10-year-old game, and it's the best thing they've made in a long time. That and Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
So, like if one PlayStation exclusive can cover over 10% of what their all-time greatest hit did, is it worth it for $7 billion? I'm going to say no, in my opinion.
Everyone thinks that $7.5 billion for ZeniMax was a very, very bad deal.
The problem is we think they bought it, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe we think they bought it for Bethesda, but maybe they bought it for ZeniMax. Maybe
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So that's probably how they got Microsoft to go on board with this. They were like, you want how much for these guys?
Right.
Even they were like, what? But then they were like, think about the other business opportunities. They do this, they do that, they do this. Okay, so there's some revenue coming in.
There's a potential play here. Sony does do entertainment. Sony Entertainment. They've made multiple Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Jumanji.
Oh, yeah. The great Jumanji. The blockbuster hit.
Right. Maybe Microsoft's looking to get into other stuff, potentially.
You mean to stray away from a games division that isn't doing too great and selling software that just kills computers?
But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, Microsoft's big thing has always been services. Yeah. And as the services have got bigger, they've just bloated. Yeah. So maybe they need a new tack.
It's possible.
I'm just saying that would make me feel a bit better about the acquisition at $7.5 billion, as if I was an investor or whatever. But I would also then have other questions like, well, they haven't done it before. They're going to have to come up with a banger IP. What banger IPs have they come out with in the stuff that they have been doing for a while? Oh, nothing.
A lot.
They've done nothing. Have they? Like since Halo, and Gears of War, they haven't done anything, and they're reviving Fable, but that's got a bang. Or do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd have a lot of questions, but
Yeah.
maybe that's a smart move. Maybe that makes more sense. I don't know, man.
I think that's the only way they would have convinced them. I think that has to be part of it. Yeah, so that's all the financial situation. It just came up this is when the reports got all published. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting to talk about how good these companies are doing, and also some extra information about investments they can make in the future.
Gaming.
It's quite cool. It means great games for us. Let's see how that goes.
Good games are good for gamers.
That is true.
I couldn't-
Phil Spencer.
At the end of the day, if Halo Infinite comes out and it's incredible, that is a good thing. I want that to be the case. I want Halo Infinite to come and be so good that I have to save up and get an X.
I said in the last episode that I have a suspicion that it's going to be great.
I hope you're right as well. Like, I want to be wrong about it.
Yeah.
I want Fable to come out and I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to get that as well.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to be good. I also want, like, because we do spend so long ragging on Xbox, so they seem to always only make bad decisions. We want a strong Xbox. We want a strong, frick Microsoft. We want a strong Xbox.
Yeah. Transitioning over to our next topic,
Yeah, boy.
Cyberpunk 2077
Sick.
has sold 13.7 million copies in less than a month.
What?
In the month that it came out. So it came out in early December.
Yeah.
And it was only on the market for 3. Well, it was in that year. It was only on the market for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And in those 3 weeks, it sold 13.7 million copies. The way that we got this information was a
Yeah.
CDPR Twitter account
Yeah.
posted it and sort of like bragging about it, saying like, "Hey, we sold this much in this time."
I was going to say,
And while that number is impressive,
very, for potentially the biggest game of all time. Yeah.
how out of touch and tone deaf do you have to be to brag about the number of copies of a game that you've sold when your game is not available on PlayStation? All the reviews are terrible for it, and
Not available
everyone
on the
is using
PlayStation Store, you mean?
PlayStation Store.
Yeah,
Sorry, all the reviews are terrible for it, and everyone is using it as the poster child for how a game can be terrible on launch.
Yeah.
Because of how broken it is and how much of a mess it is. How can you brag about something like that? And this is the reason why you shouldn't really pre-order games.
We pre-order most of our stuff.
We do. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying this as that we shouldn't probably. It's up to you to decide. But this is what happens when you.
How many did it sell in March of 2021?
Don't know about that one.
That's the number that we need.
They haven't told us.
Because I thought you said it sold 13.5 million copies this
in the
month.
last 3 weeks.
Which that would have been very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Why?
Right.
Just, what?
And I do think by the end of this year, it will be a very good game. No, I think it will be a very functional game
Okay.
with some brilliant parts to it. Like, I really genuinely mean it. There's,
It's possible. It's possible. I don't think so personally. It's possible.
I don't think it'll be a brilliant game. I don't think it'll be a perfect game. That's not what I'm saying,
But
right?
still,
This isn't got,
that doesn't
it won't-
warrant them giving
Right.
bragging about
Exactly.
this, innit?
I'm just saying this is like to give it its fair due. I think by the end of this year, the game will work. It'll be relatively bug free. Some of the things in it are brilliant. Some of the things that, like the Pan Am romance and
Here we
Judy
go. You had to
romances
say it, guys. You had to say it.
are so well done that those sections go up there with as good as stuff from like God of War and Ghost of Tsushima and stuff like that.
Right.
Overall, in the game, not so much. But don't brag about your game because I bet half of those were returned.
That's the thing. That apparently, well, at least in that 3 weeks, we don't know about after
Overall,
that,
yeah, I bet.
only 30,000 people went for a
Bullshit.
refund.
No way. That's definitely not true. That's definitely not true.
Again, obviously, that's within those last 3 weeks. Think
Or
about
maybe
it.
in those 3 weeks,
in
people
those
getting
3
refunds
weeks.
then, yeah.
And it was also Christmas time. I've got shit to do. I'm not going to be worried about the refund and whatnot. I'll get that later or something like that. But maybe it was a vocal minority type thing again. However, that's... I just can't understand the mentality. They were sitting in a boardroom meeting and they were like, okay, let's talk about how many copies of the game we've sold, of a game that we haven't fixed yet and made functional for people.
Yeah, with 500 bugs still currently being worked on, and that's not even close to all of them. Now, that's so out of touch.
So weird.
And again, I think it's because CDPR grew so fast and then became I think they became publicly traded after The Witcher, right?
I'm not
Somewhere
sure.
around that. But like they jumped from this small, potentially publicly traded company to this giant corporation, right?
Yeah.
And then they became one of the corpos from their game.
Yeah, it was so ironic, isn't it?
And this is the thing is they go out and they put out this out of touch corporation tweet when really what they need is some teenager like is clearly handling the Burger King Twitter to come out and say something different, you know?
So crazy.
Like
How can we get it, but they don't?
because we're not Suits.
Yeah, that's it.
We're not Suits. We have passion for what we're doing, and they grew so much that the majority of the people there now aren't the originals that had passion for the project.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, what we found?
Okay, so as of this, fuck off. Sorry, I forgot what show we're on. That is me being told to like accept all this stuff. A recent report claims that almost 2 million copies of Cyberpunk 2077 have been refunded by the community, which is astonishing admission as it's secured the greatest digital game launch of all time, scored more pre-orders than The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So let me go to the next thing.
Okay,
but that is, I'm trying to find the source on that.
Because when it says like, because it could, is it by polls? Is it like, hey, did you get a refund? Yeah, we did. Anyone could fucking say yes and whatnot. Okay. The next topic that I had, this is the final one actually, and then we're going to get into some user comments because it is our 1 year anniversary and a lot of people wrote in with their favorite memories of the show and stuff like that. Our next one is that speaking on a podcast for story writers, Neil Druckmann said that him and his co-writer, Holly, I believe is Holly Gross, have written the outline for A Last of Us 3.
Yeah.
That isn't in production at the moment, but, you know, writers how they are, they just like to write things up and yeah, it's just there and whatnot. If he was ever to be asked, maybe they'll be like, okay, here's the outline for that. He was saying... It's a bit difficult, he said, because it's the third in installment. When you make a brand new game, everything's free. You can do whatever you like.
You're not hemmed in by anything that you've already established. Yeah.
Exactly. Once you've made a second game, there's a pattern, and you kind of have to adhere to a certain number of things, and you're kind of restricted in that way. So it's not easy, and this game isn't in works, but he's got an outline of an idea. How do you feel about possibly, maybe one day there being another sequel?
So, when they announced Last of Us 2, I'm reading this thing.
Do you want to wrap that up if it's quick and then?
Yeah, we can do it. So really quickly, they cannot verify the number of refunds because it was a poll and they didn't have a didn't purchase option. So probably a lot of people will have I would have refunded it if they had got it. However, what we do know for sure, and they can't verify it against Sony and Microsoft numbers because those aren't released. But it did, this is what they're saying, at the end of December 2020, the market cap of CDPR had $1 billion wiped off of it.
Ooh!
So no matter how many games they sold, this was rough. So I wouldn't be bragging about the number of games we sold in that 3-week period that the next week wiped $1 billion off your company.
This was clearly a suit that was thinking, it was like, oh shit, our stock prices got trashed. This is going through. We need something to boost it up. We sold 13.7 million copies of this game in the first 3 weeks.
Ridiculous, isn't it? So stupid.
And then all us gamers are just like, bruv, we're sitting here with a broken game.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That is redonkulous.
Anyway. So The Last of Us possibly getting another sequel. Like, what do you like the idea? Do you like the idea of that?
I didn't like the idea of them making a second one. Which, we both played it. We both loved it.
Yeah,
we both really did. I'd say 1 and 2 combined are like one of the best thing of gaming ever made. God of War, like, just above it, if you look like it, you know, we've said our thing a bunch of times. I thought making a second one was a very dangerous idea because you had this incredible relationship between Joel and Ellie, and if they messed that up, then they've messed the whole thing up. Like, why even risk it? And where do you go from there? What's the story going to be? What kind of time skip is it? Is it a prequel? Is it a sequel? All this stuff. They made a second one. In our opinion, they, for the most part, nailed it. I don't want to talk for you, but generally speaking, I think we agree.
Yeah.
despite a few things like you play too long as Abby and stuff. Yeah. The idea that they'll do that again, like it's a razor's edge, like sometimes quit while the audience wants more. I think that is probably the best thing. Now, I would love to be wrong. I would love for a third one to come out and it just absolutely creams it. Just so good. Like God of War 4 was the fourth installment and it was by far the best. By far the best. I would love that to be the case. I don't see how it can possibly happen now, because the real thing we ever were invested in and the real thing that kept us playing through 2 was still the relationship between Joel and Ellie. I think it's asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And I loved 2. I loved 1 and 2. I think it's asking for trouble. I think there's too many ways that they can get it wrong and not enough ways that they can get it right. For example, an obvious thing to me is like to explore what happens with Joel, with Ellie and Dina and the kid. Too many ways that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Abby's still out there, and I think Abby and Lev.
He's Lev, yeah.
Their story is very interesting, and I think there's more to it. But I don't know if anyone wants to play anything more of Abby. And actually, I'm in the camp that I probably would, and I think there's too many ways that can go wrong. Right. I just because. Ultimately, the real thing, and it's not that Lev's trans or any of that shit, it's that the real thing in The Last of Us is that Joel and Ellie relationship.
Yeah.
That cannot exist between Lev and Abby because they just have a different relationship.
And also, then it stops becoming. Granted, while it was those two characters were in Last of Us Part 2, it stops being The Last of Us.
Yeah, The Last of Us is an Ellie story.
As I say, then you're moving. It's like completely deleting those characters. It's like with Marvel, if they were to suddenly go, all right, in Endgame, everybody died, and we start again from scratch.
Yeah, starting
like,
fresh.
Well, then it's a new thing, and it's not the same investment.
I actually like Abby. I'd like to see, not in that game, but I wouldn't mind playing more time as Abby as like a DLC or something like that. But I'm not invested in Abby. I'm invested in Ellie. Ellie's the person that I want to play, I want to see more of, I want to play as. Her relationship with Joel is the thing that I was really interested in. I wanted to play more as their relationship. I don't see how you're going to get it going. I don't see how you're going to talk me into playing. And if it's a new character, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm only in this for Ellie and Joel ultimately. I actually liked Abby overall. There was a clunky stuff. We didn't need the stuff of her as a kid. We didn't need to spend that long as her, but I liked the idea.
The 3 times we went down that same hallway for some reason.
Yeah, right.
I was like, why am I here again?
Right, exactly. That was very clunky.
It's the same flashback. Stop.
Exactly. It was very, very clunky, but I actually liked her, and I don't see any reason to play as Abby and Lev. I don't see any reason to play as Ellie going after Dina.
That's the thing that gets me the most, is that this Part 1 was the relationship between Joel and Ellie. Part 2 was, in my opinion, Ellie going along because of the memory of Joel. So we had all these flashbacks in between that made it special and great. In 3, you can't keep doing more memories.
Yeah.
Because then it almost makes the second one worse. Right. So there is nothing to see.
And you can't do a prequel because I don't care about Joel. Or I love Joel. But I care about Joel in relationship to Ellie. I care about that relationship. I don't want to just play as Joel in those 10 years, is it 20 years between Sarah's death and him meeting, and him meeting Ellie.
Too soon.
Right? Like, I wouldn't mind a potential where you went back and learned a skill that he learned back then as in a level, but I don't want to play as a younger Joel. I like the older, jaded Joel who's been given this snot-nosed kid and they grow to have this father-daughter relationship. So I don't want to play as Joel in a prequel. I don't want to play as adult Ellie going after Dina and the kid, because there's also no conflict there. That's all a social thing.
But do you want to...
That's an RPG.
...have a spanner in your works?
Go on.
We totally couldn't see Last of Us Part 2 happening.
That's true. That's 100% true.
So this is the problem that we're sitting in.
I would love to be wrong. I would so love to be wrong. And if they come up with a new character, I'd love to be wrong about that. And come up and be like, somehow this character that we never met before is even more special to me than Ellie and Joel.
Abby 2.0, and she's even more yoked.
Right.
She's rided to the gills.
She's like one of those bulls or like those freaking greyhounds. It's just yoked up and can't move. She's just a boulder.
There is someone brought this up that Neil Druckmann has something for muscular women.
I mean, okay. I mean, in fairness,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on Neil Druckmann's side here for just 1 minute.
You like muscular women too?
I don't mind fitness chicks.
Okay.
But everybody said like, oh, Neil Druckmann, he's like a sub or whatever, right? The second Lady the Mistress comes out, everybody's like, oh yeah, step on me, shit, you know? So freaking chill out.
You fucking hypocrites.
Yeah, exactly. So, devil's advocate, Lady D proves that you're all hypocrite simps.
Yeah.
But please continue.
No, it's just that in Uncharted, there was a woman in there who was kind of like muscular and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then the next game, literally the next game, he has Abby and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah,
If he
yeah.
has one more game, then that's it. Sealed the deal.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll send you all the muscular woman porn you need to your house.
Right.
To satisfy your urges. Just try to be a bit more diverse in your games and try and pick someone else. Muscular woman. It must have a muscular woman in the game.
The funny thing is as well, so like he's in the game. He's, you know those cards you pick up?
But is he in the game?
Oh.
He after, well, which part are
So
you
you
talking
get,
about?
there's a Dr. Ackman or something like
Yes.
that as a villain card. I'm not talking about some weird scene or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, see, he's in the game as one of those cards. He's a villain. And that's proof because he's a villain by making this shit game. Like, you're an idiot. Because if he'd put himself in the game as a hero, you'd have complained the exact same. He thinks he's a hero making this stuff like he's a hero for this and then, but it's a shit game. The game's good.
I thought you was talking about that. You know, there's that one character in Abby's camp
Yeah.
that looks like him.
Yeah.
And people were like, did you model this character after yourself? And he's like, no. And I'm like,
I mean,
that looks like you, fam.
it does look like him, but it also just looks like a black-haired, bearded dude. You know,
Yeah.
it's a kind of generic
Yeah.
thing. I will say as well, there's
Wow, Neil Druckmann's generic. Wow.
as this was coming out,
Wow.
for sure, as this was coming out, Tiger King was like a massive thing on Netflix.
Yeah.
The guy in the final, like the slavers at the end,
Yeah.
there's this big fat guy that Ellie ends up murdering. The guy with like,
Yeah.
he looks like one of the dudes from Tiger King.
I saw that on Twitter as well. Everyone was
Yeah.
like, hey, this
and
guy.
so if that guy wasn't modeled after him, which I don't think he was, because it would have been done way before that, then I'm gonna say that the guy wasn't modeled after Neil Druckmann. Because also, if someone had been like, I don't think that's too much. If he'd have been in there and been like, yeah, absolutely, it's my game. I wanted to be in it, but I'm not an actor. So we used my features as a character model to get me in. Oh, and I'm murdered like 10 minutes in, you know, or I die or whatever.
There you
Like,
go.
I just wanted to be in my own game. It's a part of my soul. I wanted to include myself in it. Spent all this time making this game and writing it and blah blah.
It's like
so I
Zack
wouldn't have any
Snyder
problems with
being
that.
in the Snyder Cut.
Right,
Just in one
exactly.
of like random civilians.
Exactly, or frickin' Lee. What's going on in my head? Stanley. Don't know why I put Lee at the front. Stanley in everything. See, look, Stanley being in everything, that's way more. And I love that. I don't think anyone doesn't.
It was very adorable.
It was very adorable, but it's also like if you hate Stan Lee, you're like, what a freaking egomaniac.
Fucking
Right?
loser.
But what's he doing in it? He's like all these weird little. He's just there. He's just in the background, right? And I like that. And I wouldn't have a problem if Neil Druckmann was like, yeah, I freaking love these games. It's a passion project. I wanted to be in the game. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I don't think that guy's him. I think the card is as close as he gets.
The villain,
Yeah.
Villain
Yeah, absolutely. He's totally the He killed Joe, man.
He did. It was him with his own
He had his
hands.
muscle chick kill Joe.
he created a muscle chick just to kill Joel. He
Right.
did it. That's all the topics that we have.
Okay.
I left it kind of light so we could talk about.
You left it light, but I managed to fill the gap.
There was a little bit of filler, but just like anime.
just like anime.
But so we could talk to our fans because this
Yeah.
is our 1 year anniversary.
Our
I think it's
birthday.
really cool. Our birthday right here. I'm going to start off with from Patreon. Joe McCormack writes into patreon.com/Conbrosations and he says, first off, happy birthday, Conbroplaystions
thank
anniversary. Dude, it's Conbrosations. Don't you know? We changed the name.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Jesus,
You obviously
Joe.
don't love us.
Joe really hates us.
If you did love us, you'd go up to the $15, you're already there.
Yeah, he's already there.
You'd go up to $69
That's
nice tier.
Really glad to be a part of the community. Well, clearly you don't know anything anyway. So.
Obviously don't know the community then.
Yeah, exactly, the jokes. And all that good stuff. With me being a relative newbie, I don't have too many memories compared to the others. But just,
Wow, doesn't have any memories of us. Okay. I feel like he just slagging us off, innit?
I love how you know how we say normally like our patrons are the ones that get the shit the worst.
Oh yeah, the higher up in the Patreon tier, the more shit you get.
This is proof. We're just fucking nailing you to the cross right
Also,
now.
no joke. So he has been streaming a couple AC games on Twitch every now and then. I'll jump on one and just ream him out for like, this fucking this game shit. You're shit at this game all the time. And then I'll just chat with people, and then he'll do something. He'll mess up like as if no one else ever messes up. I'm like, you fucking shit at this game. It's just a shit game. Why don't you play something good like Minesweeper or something? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't have too many memories compared to the others, but just enjoy all the live streams you both do. That's together or individually. He says, quick question though. Is there a video game crossover that hasn't happened yet, but you think should happen? I.e. a character from another game showing up in Smash or like that type of thing and whatnot.
Abby should be in Smash.
Abby. And
with a golf bat or whatever they call them. Club.
Oh, God. Oh, first of all, that perfectly summarizes your level of knowledge on sports.
I am not really keen on sports.
Me neither. But that...
Tell me I'm wrong.
Could you imagine...
Tell me I'm wrong.
Could you imagine how people would feel?
Tell me I'm wrong.
Seeing Abby pop into
Tell me
a
I'm wrong.
new character has arrived
And
in
it's just
Smash.
Dunk.
And she's like with a golf club.
Yeah, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Because all you dickheads will be, oh, Master Chief should be in Fortnite. Doom Guy in Smash. No. Abby in Smash Bros.
And her weapon is just
or Luigi,
a golf club.
Luigi in Mortal Kombat.
So could you imagine So could you imagine the what's the fatality attacks of Luigi?
Well, he is a plumber.
Pull out his spine on whatever it is.
Just pull out his heart, reconnect all the pipes in a different way, and the guy just goes red and his head explodes.
Done.
I'm a Luigi. I'm a number Juan.
Juan.
What would you do? I think those are my picks. No joke. Luigi in Mortal Kombat or Abby in Smash. And for the record, those are two. I used to play Mortal Kombat and Tekken. Not really a Smash guy, but I mean, come on. Abby with the golf bat.
With the golf bat, yeah.
In Smash.
I wonder. I keep thinking of like Nathan Drake.
Yeah, where would you put him?
I was thinking
Fortnite.
about like if he was to be in Smash, even though I was trying to stray away from Smash. His whole thing is that he's lucky, right?
Yeah.
Like more lucky than normal people.
Yeah.
So do you reckon that could play like a factor in this? Like he dodges everything, a bit like Domino in Deadpool 2.
How are you gonna make luck a visually pleasing superhero?
Or while everything's crashing around like that sort of thing, but in Smash. So like no one can touch him because he's just so goddamn lucky.
Yeah, that could be.
Obviously, it wouldn't work for a video game.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
But could you just like he's like swinging using his like lasso? Is it lasso?
Oh, fuck. A whip, isn't it? That's why he's got a whip.
That's Indiana Jones, I think. I don't know.
Whatever, man.
But that could be quite funny. That would be just funny to watch. Be like, that's Nathan Drake.
Oh shit! I got an even better pick. Yoshi in Forza. Because like weirdly for me,
riding Yoshi.
weirdly for me, when I think of most of the Mario stuff, I think Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Where most people think like either Smash Bros or Super Mario or stuff, I think Mario Kart, specifically Mario Kart 64, because that was the only Mario game I actually had growing up, which is fine. I think Mario Kart, I think Rainbow Road. So I think Yoshi or like Mario, one of those guys in their regular as they look in Forza with its like 4K Lamborghinis and stuff.
Everyone looking awesome, and then just like
Yoshi
done.
I don't know. Come on, man. Don't freaking
Let me
do me like
think,
this. You gotta get a good one.
this. Whoa.
Also, maybe let me give you a bit more range.
Go on.
Doesn't have to be like so. Like for example, you can't pick Superman, but like put Superman in Mortal Kombat. Or something,
I was gonna say Kratos.
Oh shit!
Kratos in Mortal Kombat, because he's already like a visceral fighting sort of opponent, but you never get to see the fatality type stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to see Kratos rip someone's spine out.
That's a shout. Okay.
And it'd be a better way to fucking use the IP of God of War
Then
rather
put
than
him in Fortnite.
put him in fucking Fortnite to do
Yeah, they could have put him in like
dances.
Injustice or something. Sure. Oh man.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
go over to Discord,
Yeah.
where some of our bros, just like you guys, have written in by using the link in the description. Just do it there.
We can speak English.
We can definitely.
I totally swallowed that down the wrong pipe, and I'm trying not to cough because the mic's right there. My eyes are going.
Super Dan wrote in with a question, but
Where is this? Where are we? The podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Jack wrote it better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to completely ignore you, Super Dan. You suck.
Okay.
He says, Dan stole my idea, but mine had puns in it, so fuck it.
Okay.
He said, riveting stuff this week. Riveting, because it's
Right.
of the character of Rivet from
Rivet, yeah.
Ratchet
Yeah.
and Clank.
Can you include that GIF so people can see what we're seeing, so that people can see it?
It says, would you pop her rivet? Discuss.
I'm not a furry, but
The butt.
10 out of 10 would smash. I assume she's like whatever adult age is for a Lombax.
The funny thing is, I don't know if it's the GIF or if it's her.
I know what you mean. This is weirdly a very like super cute, super attractive, well lit.
It's meant to be, I don't know if you've noticed what that's supposed to be from, by the way. It's Agatha
Yeah.
from One Division, where she's doing that Agatha all a long time.
I love the GIFs where they take like game stuff and make it regular stuff. There's one.
They take a normal thing and then they model like a game character after it.
I hate to always bring up Ghost of Tsushima, but there's this really funny, I think it's Chow Yun Fat, where like he's leaving and then he comes back and does this thumbs up.
Yeah.
And they did that for Ghost of Tsushima, and it's Jin, and it freaking kills me because I know the scene. I think it's got Ryan Reynolds in it. Yeah, there's this. I forget the movie, but Ryan Reynolds basically becomes Iron Fist in the movie. He learns like kung fu from Chow Yun Fat.
Right.
I'm gonna Google. You continue.
Go on. The one that I love, the one that I've seen is the Chris Pratt. Is it the Parks and Rec one?
Yeah.
Where he's like,
yes.
and they've done so many
Like
of
Joel,
that.
I've seen. For
Yeah, Joel. They did what was Deacon St. John from Days Gone as well. They did. I love that one. And there's that Antonio Banderas one, classic one where he's looking at a computer, and then he goes.
Yeah.
And they've done Joel like that as well. They've done a couple characters like that, and I love this. It's interesting to think that they've devoted an entire group of people within a development company to do this stuff.
Yeah, because this sort of stuff has to basically be from the devs. Yeah. A lot of it. So
especially the good stuff. And I think it might have been The Last of Us that started this thing though. Because I remember there being a lot of them for The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, really?
They did one of grown-up Ellie eating popcorn, doing the
Yes.
Michael Jackson like.
Yeah. The cinema. I love that GIF. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so.
yes,
would
10
you?
out of 10 would smash it.
Yeah. Good.
I'm not a furry, but
Exactly. I'm not a furry, but and genuinely, I was like, I don't get the thing, but there you have it.
I mean, just look at them teeth. How would you not?
I will say.
The teeth is the most attractive part of a woman's mouth.
Yeah. The murder rocks in her mouth. That's the best bit.
Put that on a t-shirt. The teeth of a woman is the most attractive part of a woman's mouth.
That's so bad. It's because of the risk factor, isn't it? If she sneezes or like has a fit or something, or she'll chomp down. Totally wrong podcast. Mass Effect. You're continuing. You're probably going to play it.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, unless I'm going through to get all the other romances, I've always romances the alien chick. Like I always go for the blue chick or the green chick or something. Like it's just
You gotta go for something different.
exactly. I can romance a regular human color chick anytime I want.
I can pay for sex
fuck.
anytime.
I just realized, and this is funny. Like my generally, it's either Tally, who I don't think you ever see her face, or Liara. For me, Liara has head tentacles. They kind of work as her hair, but I'm pretty sure they are tentacles.
Perfect. There you go. That's for you right there.
Is Liara's hair made of tentacles?
Surely you can Google search her and then like zoom in and have a look.
Liara and Joker talk about hair tentacles. That is a part of a scene which I forgot about. I'm gonna have to watch that. But it's in the game.
No
It's in
wonder
the
why
game.
you like tentacles so much. I see.
I do stand there. Here, I'll show you. Just so you can see, like she has
Oh,
like tentacle hair.
yeah, that's definitely tentacles there.
But the thing is, in the game, they never move. Or
They never
anything.
like stand up.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't like octopus or anything. So anyway, Liara, trust me, it's a solid romance.
All right.
When did I become the like Mr. Romance guy? But for the last like 6 months, all I've spoken about.
The entire of your life.
Did I speak about it much before like the last sort of year or so? No, I didn't think I did.
It was honestly, he started on this part. I think it might have been a thing, but you just never vocally said it.
Yeah, romances were a big deal. Tell me you don't
But
want to bang
because we
that.
talk.
Come on. That's what I thought. And it's
Just-
become...
Can you adjust the color on that? I want to see when she's
Well,
covered
she did
in
like
white.
if she was in... Oh, I see. Like glazed like a Krispy Kreme donut.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what that's like.
I think one of the reasons I brought it up most recently is because there isn't a romance in Ghost of Tsushima, and it totally makes sense for Jin and Yuna to have that option.
Yeah.
And also the Pan Am romance was so incredible. For me, it was the best thing in the game.
In Cyberpunk.
Yeah, in Cyberpunk. And I don't really have the urge to play Cyberpunk again, but I kind of want to go back and play it and do Judy and see what that... hey,
Pun intended.
and see how that goes, because I suspect it's just as good, but totally different, and I want to experience it. But it means going through so much of that game.
Yeah.
I might just slap it on easy mode and just blast through everything. But then I won't. I'll go through this. I will go through all the Cyberpunk side content because it's what I'm wired to do. Every time I play through Bala, I'm going to go and find those mantis blades. The very first thing I do.
It was a good pit. It was a good good tip in
Yeah,
it.
if you intend to play Cyberpunk, you need to come to Conbrosations and search up there. Ed found like these epic mantis blades.
Oh yeah.
And it's totally the way to go. But the problem with that is then I'm never going to check out the mono wire or the grenade launcher or the gorilla arms because I'm going to have these epic blades, But check it out. It's a really good video.
So,
If we're done smashing rivets.
Yep,
Yeah.
smashing rivets.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Corwin writes in.
It's like a 50s style Liara
Oh, Jesus.
pin-up.
I like
That's
it.
pretty cool. Yeah,
I like
I'm going to
it.
save that as my background.
Corwin writes in and he says, question for you. Who's the hottest Resident Evil protagonist?
Protagonist?
Yes. You might have
Chris.
to do a Google.
Chris Redford.
Chris.
For sure.
I don't know many of them. However, I have seen cosplays of some.
Who did Mila Jovovich play? Her.
I don't think she...
Oh,
was
no,
she
she's
original
not.
character?
She's not, no, because she meets what's her face, the cop in the third one, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah?
Whose name I forget the name of the cop, but her. It's definitely her. Come on.
I don't know too much about the characters. As I said, the
Nah.
first one that I've played is Resident Evil 7, and I'm really into it now, but, people telling me to go back, maybe I will. Jill Valentine. I see cosplays
think
of
that's
her
the cop.
all the time.
Yeah.
Really?
Blue top, black.
Yes.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah,
Jill
yeah,
Valentine,
yeah. And I think she's just insanely hot. She's got that, like, I'm a badass vibe as well.
I
and
just
it's
sent you a
like-
message of a Liara thing that cracked me up. It was just so freaking funny, but
Let's have a look. Ooh, all right. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord.
it's like an old one.
And then, like, push it back. and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
Anyway, Jill Valentine, yeah, that's definitely the shout for sure.
That's my pick right
Jill
there.
or Chris, probably, yeah.
But he also says as his favorite memory, he goes, also my favorite memory was easily when Eddie failed to hug Leonardo 3 times in AC2. I was dying of laughter during that stream.
That was funny because I was there and I specifically told you the wrong button and you trusted me because we're boys.
Trusted you!
And your issue was that you trusted me because we're boys. And because we're boys, you can't trust me.
That's it.
That was so funny. We were like, I'm pressing it. And then it was like, it's the wrong fucking button. That was so funny.
the
If you
amount of
miss
time.
our streams, you are missing out.
Yeah. Diogo writes in and he says, since Corwin took my hug moment, I'll say that my favorite moment has been when the Troy Baker meme started. Who knew that he voiced everyone? Who knew, right?
So mostly you though. I feel like these memes often come from you because
I'm the dumbest. I
But
say
thing
the
is,
dumbest shit without thinking.
You're comedically dumb. And you do say stuff like that. And somehow it just spreads like wildfire. Although, one that you did on purpose, the whales meme,
Yes.
that killed me. And is it still a rank on the Discord? I think it is. I think
so.
everybody's
Yeah,
got
it's
that.
everyone gets the whale. Everyone's a whale.
That was so funny to me personally. And also, have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No.
Yeah, that's where that meme with the
Oh, I've got it, guys. I got it.
But seeing you doing that and the way you delivered it was so freaking good. That to me was the best bit about Death Stranding.
Yeah,
Not
just
even
this
joking.
meme.
Also, that smoking hot chick whose name I forget that's in it.
Oh yeah.
Her. You know her.
Yeah, she's the Bond. She's in James Bond.
Yeah,
as well,
yeah,
isn't she? Yeah, she's stunning.
Yeah, she's a stunner.
For those of you guys that are new, I feel like I should explain this because like people like
Joe
Joe
won't
don't
know. Yeah.
So
explain both. Yeah.
in AC2, I got to the moment where we were supposed to hug Leonardo, and I missed it the first time, and everyone was like, "No, you've ruined the game."
You didn't even see the prompt.
It's the worst thing. I was just too busy like reading comments or something like that. It was they acted like I'd killed a child live on stream.
For context, I think there's 2 opportunities to hug Leo.
Is it?
Yeah, you missed the first one, but it wasn't a big deal because I remember reading the comments. It wasn't a huge deal because the more impactful moment was coming up.
Yeah.
In the first go of it, you missed it. You were reading comments or whatever. And everybody, the chat blew up and they were like, no, you cannot. You have to go back. You have to reload and redo this. So you did. And then I can't remember what happened. You missed it 3 times. It was the fourth time.
Let me tell you how I remember it,
Okay.
because I think I remember it. This happened. I was reading comments and I missed it, and everyone acted like I just killed a child on
Yes, you did.
stream. It was
And so
like
you had
the
to
worst
reload.
thing in the world.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you have to go back. And I was like, is this a big thing or is it like a weird 4 pillars thing?
Yeah.
No one was very conclusive, but I was like, all right, fuck it, reload it and I'll go back again. And I get up to it. And the button prompt comes up and it's very quick. And I was like, oh shit, I was meant to press it now. And I spam a bunch of buttons, but I didn't hit the right
missed
button.
it, yeah.
And I missed it again. And people were like, no way did you miss it the second time. No way.
And then
the third time
I came in and said, because I have like, I can be easily seen. And if you see my name, you pick me out. And I said, bro, like the button was square or something. And I was like, bro, when it happens, the prompt is circle.
And I'm like, fine, I'm going to continuously press it all the way through. Circle, 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 circle. Come here, hug me. Okay, no then, I guess. And I'm like, no!
And I was dying.
And I was like, you told me it was this button. He's like, I lied.
I straight up lied to you. So the 4th time you went round, and this time, it was so funny as well because you were like staring at the screen, waiting like it was a bamboo struck, like you had a time limit to, okay, that's the button, click, and then you did eventually, you got it.
On
the worst
try,
thing,
guys.
The worst thing as well is because everybody in the chat had hyped it up so much and you'd missed it 3 times, the hug was so underwhelming.
It was.
Because of the event was so much funnier that you'd missed it.
It was nothing. I was just like, so was that it?
Yeah, they hug.
Anyway, that's where
that's the Troy Baker. That's the Hug and Leonardo meme.
The Troy Baker one was I was playing AC2 for the first. Oh, we got to the modern day part.
Yeah,
and it's Desmond Miles and it's voiced by Nolan North.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, I know this guy. This guy is thing by his voice. It's Troy Baker. Because in my mind, I'd been watching Retro Replay where Troy Baker and Nolan North are together.
Yeah.
So it all just mixed in my mind. And I'm like, Troy Baker. And then people were like, no, it's not. It's like, Troy Baker's the one that voices everything, right? And then that was it.
That blew up.
And then it was like, oh yeah, this girl, she's played by Troy Baker.
Yeah, everybody's played by Troy Baker. So are we. We're voiced by Troy Baker.
We're voiced by Troy Baker as well.
He's a busy guy.
That's how that woman there.
I mean, I'm a busy guy. Troy Baker. It's me. My
in
voice.
fact, it's on... There you go. So it's even.
Oh my god, Joe, you missed this as well. Joe doesn't know about this, does he?
Yeah, we made. So you might be able to see it from the thing just here. We made custom cyberpunk covers that was like a Patreon benefit or something like that, and it's got all kinds of Easter eggs all over it. And on the back, it's like featuring award-winning voice actor Troy Baker
as everyone.
That
cover was really good fun. And it took like 2 weeks for people to find everything on there. We really put a bunch in here to the point where like there was stuff that no one was ever going to notice.
Yeah.
And
they're like the small print at the bottom.
Yeah, we edited the small print and stuff.
Like use of our fleshlights found at usefleshlights.com is subject to the used fleshlights terms and conditions and the user license agreements and so on and so forth.
all stuff that no one would ever reasonably see. And then when we sent it out, like, there's the fist and stuff. I would draw dicks where it looks like it was jacking stuff off. And like, it was good fun. Joe, you've missed a lot.
Joe.
Sucks to be you. And then what was the final
next
one?
thing will be.
What was the final one? It was the whales. He doesn't know about the whales.
Oh,
either.
the whales. So yeah,
Death Stranding was coming out.
Death Stranding was coming out, and nobody understood what that game was about.
I don't even think Kojima knows what it's about.
Yeah, before the game came out, everyone was just like, okay, so there's whales, there's black
because
goo,
of the seaside. What is the?
there's like beached whales that come up,
the beach, yeah.
and then there's guys that can float. Then there's handprints. There's a baby.
There is a baby. And worse than this,
baby's inside his stomach. It's in a bottle as well.
Before the game came out as well, Kojima was asked, "What award do you think it will win?" And he said,
Look, he said, "What type of game is it?"
Right, and he
said, "What's the genre?"
Yeah, it's gonna be the best Stranding game.
It's like, it's a Strand game.
Yes, it's a Strand game.
That didn't answer any question.
It's a Strand game.
That doesn't answer anything.
Right, exactly.
So it added even more mystery to it.
Right.
And then we went to EGX and we got to see a live demo gameplay.
Yeah.
And we came out of it with even more questions.
Oh, yeah. We got to see the game. We got to see what should have answered questions. We saw combat. We saw character interactions. And came out of it.
System.
Yeah, the like system
thing.
Came out of it by far more confused than when we went in. Normally, when you get these things, a couple of questions are answered and they raise a few more.
Yeah.
This answered nothing and raised 20 more questions for every question we'd had going in.
Yeah.
Plus the new stuff, like what is the like system? How does that work? Does it actually benefit? All these questions.
Bridges, what's that all about?
Right, all these questions.
And because of that, when it got closer to the game, I decided to make a funny video, and it's on the Conbrosations channel if you want to search for it. It's called We Are the Whales.
Yeah, or maybe we'll link it if we remember.
And it was basically me with a bunch of pictures from Death Stranding and pictures of whales and a bunch of like yarn leading from one thing to another and like dramatic lighting and me with like fucked up hair and I'm just
crazy, like you've been up for 3 days.
I figured it out. Guys, I figured it the hell out. Oh, fucking Kojima, I've got you nailed, mate. I've got you nailed. We are the whales, you see? So think about it, right? Whales live in water. There are whales in this game. The Earth is 70% water. Where do we live? We live on Earth. Get it? With the whales. Stuff like that. You need to watch the whole thing to fully absorb it.
It's freaking hilarious.
But it was absolutely hilarious.
And that's why...
I like doing that one.
That's why we can tag everybody with @Wales.
Yes.
If you've ever seen yourself tagged with @Wales and you're like, what the fuck? What the hell? Yeah, or sometimes... Not so much now, but it was much more when Death Stranding was coming out. We'd write something and it would get like a bunch of different whale emotes, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was good. There's a lot of little memes that have come up.
I like this little reminiscing here.
It's good fun.
Super Whale Ben.
Yes.
Funny we mentioned whales.
See, well, there you go. That's why he's...
Exactly. Yeah. Super Whale Ben wrote in and he said, "Happy birthday, lads. Aww. My favourite moment was the Among Us stream. This is because it was the first time I properly interacted with you guys and was pushed into being active in the Discord. It is basically when I became a part of this community. Since then, I've absolutely loved everything about the community, from the content you guys produced to chatting to all the bros on Discord."
Was this your stream?
I think it might have been.
Have I ever played Among Us?
I think it might have been one of my streams.
Oh, I remember I've played it once and I was like, we don't skip votes.
Yeah,
if you call a vote, someone's dying.
And every time that you pass the control over to me, they'll just vote me out and I'll be like, well, that's that.
That I found personally very fucking funny.
You two have inspired me to start my own YouTube channel. Oh, that's so nice. Where I have found a new love for discovering something new in me that I didn't even realize was there.
Dildos.
That's it. He didn't know dildos were in him. Now he knows, and he's got this. He's filled the void right there. Thank you, Eddie and Sheps. You two are truly incredible at what you do, and I can't wait to see you continue to grow. Thank you so much, man. So
very sweet,
kind guy.
Very sweet. What tier on the Patreon is he for the appropriate amount of shit to get?
He's a super bro, so
that's
ultimate
right.
level of shit. Ultimate level of shit.
I think this is just I just reminded myself. We need to tell Ethan that he can write that $5 off as a marketing expense because it totally is.
Okay. Weird thing to remember right now.
Yeah, I know, because I was thinking about like Patreon tiers and the appropriate amount of shit to give to people. And Ben, if you start making any money from the Random Wavelength, you can write off your $15 Patreon as a marketing expense. Just plug yourself on it. Totally legit. I want to say...
I just want to know how that came into his head.
Because
I'm going to give him shit.
Earlier, I said we weren't suits, but that was a lie. Well, no, that was true. We aren't suits. I are a suit.
I are suit. I are Groot.
Yeah, right, exactly. We are suit. So, first of all, Ben, get fucked.
Yeah.
Secondly, I actually want to say, and this is about like our community, which is an incredible place, far better than any other support beam based community.
Yeah.
Because not because of us, but like tangentially related to us, a lot of people have been inspired to do stuff.
Yeah.
That are connected with us. Ben has started a cool podcast and a great channel. He's also watching MHA, by the way.
Oh, so
what a legend! What a legend!
All those pro points and
giving his
massive minus.
his impressions. It's very good.
How does he have enough time? He's like Diogo. He's watching fucking all of the DC movies as well.
You're gonna complain about someone watching stuff.
I watch one movie over.
How
and over
many
again.
times? It's a 4-hour movie. How many?
I've
Genuinely,
only
what's
watched
the
it
count?
7 times. Seriously, 7 times.
Seriously, for the record, because I
Save
know
it
it's
for the
played
Blu-ray.
multiple times.
Yeah.
How many times have you actually sat through the whole movie?
Yeah, like I sat through in one sitting. Like,
How many times have you sat through the whole movie?
it's definitely 7 times. Like, I don't like start it again or anything. I just
No, yeah,
continue
yeah.
on when it goes on. But he watched all of the DC TV shows, and then now
Legend.
he's watching all of the all the DC movies from the beginning.
Legend.
The guy, and then on top of that, he's watching MHA, and he's got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Fucking the guy's just
A legend. So he does have a YouTube channel. It's pretty good.
Yep.
Random Wavelength and a podcast. Pretty good. And he's not the only one that's in our community that, as a result of us inappropriately touching them, they've taken out their trauma on something creative. Like Chris is starting a business, an Etsy shop for those sick maps that he does.
really cool.
Which is awesome. Ben's got his podcast. Joe started streaming.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many cool things. And I love
Our
that
boys are grown up.
And again, that's one of the reasons, and I don't say it as a joke, the show and tell room is like my favorite room on our Discord, because there's so many people in there that have so many different interests or things that they do. Like one guy, I forget his real name. He's Bucky the blacksmith, or he was for a long time.
Yeah.
I think he's an actual blacksmith. He's put up a bunch of different like awesome fences and stuff that he's like physically made out of like metal and twisted it and shit. They look
Really
sick. Cool. Chris does his maps. Like Zahir is an artist. Like there's so many awesome things. I'm waiting for a musician.
Yeah.
Like I love that room. Anything that you're genuinely proud of, like if you do music or art
Bucky the
or
blacksmith.
anything.
He's got a friend who's got an Etsy shop of like who makes like 3D printed props and stuff like that.
Oh, sick.
He approached me because he makes Smallville props, and I was like,
Oh shit, no.
"You're talking my language, boy."
What's the shipping though? He's in America, I'm guessing.
It's in America, yeah. The only reason why I haven't done it is because he started talking to me right when I had Isla, and I was like,
Oh no.
maybe I shouldn't be buying frivolous shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, maybe one day I'll have something. I've always wanted the stones of knowledge from that fucking show.
Yeah, I know what that is, and I care.
The stones of knowledge,
Of course,
obviously, you know all about that, because I've always thought they're super cool.
Stones of knowledge.
Yeah. Stones of knowledge, Smallville. And then obviously the crystal that it turns into,
Of
which
course,
then creates the fortress.
Goes without saying.
Go have that. Go have that right there.
Anyway, I'm much more interested in our community than you, so shut up. Oh, is this like a Fifth Element kind of deal?
Let me have a look.
Oh shit.
Found. Yeah, so those stones of knowledge, they're left by his father, Jor-El, and he puts
The
them
guy
together.
that was exploded on a planet far, far away
Yeah.
in a galaxy far, far away. A long
Turns
time
out
ago.
he visited Smallville before.
Oh, that's good.
It just happened to be.
Yeah.
And then he puts them together, and it forms one crystal, and then he gets
This
teleported.
is great writing.
He gets teleported to the North Pole, and he throws it, and then it lands in the ice, and it creates the Fortress of Solitude.
Okay. I mean, the
great
Fortress of Solitude's freaking great,
Yeah.
so fair enough.
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Ben, for all those kind
Thank
words.
you,
It was
Ben.
really awesome of you.
You are super whale indeed. More importantly, Ben, while I've got your attention, Rivet, smash or pass?
Yeah, you got to tell us. Everyone in the chat. Sorry for you.
cool, man.
I just wanted to touch you. Sorry.
Yeah, of course. We'll just hold hands now.
We'll hold
We're
hands.
announcing not only is it our birthday, but we're getting married.
We're getting married, guys.
Get off me, motherfucker.
Sean writes in and he goes, "Why hasn't anyone brought up the drunk stream from the Sony event? That was probably the best
God damn it.
highlight. We need more
God
drunk
damn it.
sheps again."
So there's another one Joe missed, and we'll explain.
Yes.
We watched the Sony, what was it?
It was the PlayStation 5 reveal event.
PlayStation 5 reveal event.
In hindsight, not the best one to choose.
Some idiot who shall remain nameless, decided to do a drinking game, which in and of itself was probably a mistake given the event. You picked some very common phrases, some things that we were certain were going to come up. And then, because I kind of assumed we would be doing beer, it wasn't beer. It was spirits. And we got frickin' smashed.
Yeah, if you want to watch that, it's still up. It's still available for everyone.
Apparently, see, I didn't know this until afterwards. There is an emote of me. Apparently, I've never taken a selfie before, by the way. Apparently, I did.
You went full basic bitch.
It's one of the emotes. It's the me in the yellow shirt. Also, there was apparently a Discord VC hang. Didn't know about that. Not until I was told about it.
The series of events was we did the stream. We got hellas drunk on these this bingo card we made of things that would pop up.
We got smashed.
When they say 8K or when they say this or whenever they say that, and we got absolutely smashed.
And also if you did a Connect 4 or whatever, that was another shot.
Another one there. And then after that, because we were so drunk, we were like, let's just do a voice chat in Discord with all of the community, and we all turn on our cameras and stuff like that, and we're all just. We started singing the Pokemon theme song. I started singing the Smallville theme song. It was amazing.
I don't remember any of this.
It was probably, in most recent times, probably the most I've been drunk in a while.
That was the drunkest I've been in a very, very long time.
The last time I was drunk was the time when I was on my stag.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I chucked
you were
up...
pretty drunk.
Chucked up... carrots.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
That was the last time. That's a while ago.
That was a while ago.
That was something.
That was the drunkest I've been in a very, very long time. It's the first time I've ever been like blackout drunk. Ooh. Where probably I don't remember how the PlayStation 5 event ended. Don't remember anything about the VC hang. None of it. Like literally nothing. The only proof I have that it actually happened is that freaking emote.